this thing of pulling out a gun.
Can I please say something?
No. Wait. Those city power workers have got families, bro. I don't go to work and have people pull out guns on me and justify it because, oh no, there's criminality in the country, so that's why a gun must be pulled out on me. Think about those people, how terrified they were, thinking that they're gonna get killed.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Welcome. VM. Welcome to virtual Mkhukhu. Big homie Sluda out here on a Monday afternoon. Would like to say we drop episodes Mondays at 12 o'clock, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock, and Fridays at 12 o'clock. We've upped our game to 3 episodes a week. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. We appreciate you. The community is growing. For the past month, we've grown with over 10,000 brand new subscribers. So we'd like to welcome you guys. This is an educational platform. As a platform grows, we will be adding a lot of different teachable content. Okay, maybe let me address it when the time gets closer, when we get there. For now, let's focus on what we're here to do, the business of the day. As usual, the sharp sign on the count of 1, 2, 3, let's go. Click that like button, click, and then click the subscription button so you become a part of our community. Click. Thank you very much for clicking that. Don't forget to switch on that notification bell so you get to know when we're dropping brand new videos. I'd like to give a big shout out to Drip. I'd like to give a big shout out to Cotton Fest University. I'd like to give a big shout out to all the local brands that are doing their thing. Keep growing, guys. Keep pushing yourselves and keep supporting each other. I'm not alone. I'm with the co-owner, co-partner, co-brother of the show, Mr. Penuel. How you doing?
DJ Smooth. But I'm very happy to be here and I'm happy that the sun is shining and there are no floods in Johannesburg. So
You had a good weekend?
Had a great weekend. I'm happy. If I was religious, I'd be saying I'm highly blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
But because I believe in myself, I think I'm a blessing unto myself.
Before we introduce him,
sure.
Because I've just been bragging about wearing local, big up to City of BYO, Bulawayo, City of Kings, t-shirts, Zeitgeist, I think they're from Cape Town, Drip obviously and all of that stuff. People are always talking about you wearing black. Is it intentional or why do you wear black all the time?
In morning. No. I want to start off by saying, obviously before you introduce him, I guess, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's got very strong opinions. He's passionate about what he does. He's passionate about human beings. He's passionate about people getting up and moving. So to what you're saying about sparring and spending the day with him, it's because he's actually a really, really great leader. And I understand that. And I think it's part of the reason why people love to hate him, because we're not used to people with strong opinions about certain things. Anyways, I'm a Penuelist. I've created my own religion. I've created my own culture. People need to understand the definitions. A religion is obviously a set rules of belief. So I've created my own religion. I have my own Bible called Penuelism Principles, which is my life guide. And people can read that. At the same time, I've created my own culture. A culture is just norms. How do you guys live? One of them being the way you dress. This is not necessarily religion. It is a culture. It's a way of being. How you speak, how you move, how you raise your children, what you eat, etc. And part of my culture and part of my religion currently is about dressing in black every day. I personally don't believe in wearing other people's names, in particular Europeans and Americans and Asians that I will never meet, that don't know that I exist. I love the idea currently of wearing South African names because these are people we know, people we can access, people that we know if we support them, we will feed black families around here who will then get the money to circulate. But for now, I wear black. I am working on my own, I don't want to call it a clothing line because that's not what I'm going for. I'm looking to create our own clothing for the people that follow me more than anything. Black is
merchandise, a
very neutral color. I don't want to say merchandise because it's misleading. It's like I'm selling a clothing brand, which is not really what I'm going for. Black is a color that doesn't get dirty. I personally love chimpanzees because I believe we are the evolution of chimps. It reminds us that we're chimpanzees and we should never feel like money and all those things rule our lives. And I think in the same vein that great minds that I admire, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, these are guys that didn't want to waste their time constantly thinking about what to wear. So we're not really fashionable. We're kind of lame. We're not cool like you guys. So we kind of wear the same stuff every day. I'm a minimalist, by the way, which is also part of my beliefs. Minimalist means I live with the bare minimum of what I need to live in life. And I think people like Elon Musk are moving in that direction as well.
That's brilliant, man. Thank you. I love men that know who they are, that are comfortable in their own skin, that know what they represent, and they're comfortable in it, you know. And the brother that I'm about to introduce, guys, you guys know me, I'm a very good listener. I'm a very teachable student, and I'm always just on this platform just to want to learn and just engage in conversations. He's an entrepreneur. He's been a part of the South African entertainment industry for a couple of years. We've sat down on the show before already. If you haven't checked out the episode, I think maybe go check out 12 episodes before this one, or 10 episodes before this one. You'll find Nota's episode. Listen to his life story over there, how incredible he is, how highly opinionated he is. He grew up in Joburg. He's a Joburger, just like myself as well. Ndona Sisoe too. If you're on the internet in South Africa, you definitely know Nota.
Thank you, brothers.
La vida Nota, come on.
The life of Nota.
Come on.
That's the most I will speak.
No, it's going to be tough. Before Nota speaks, because I don't think we're going to speak after him. Smuda, I want to emphasize, and this is a shout out to our virtual squatters out there. People pay attention to almost every little thing we do, which is great, and it's humbling, of course. You are an amazing listener. It was one of the things I learned just before I started jumping on the podcast with you, and it's something that you've taught me as well. Because like you know,
you're teaching us
with the passion. But there is a time to sit back and to listen, and I just want to thank you as well. And I think you're teaching other people out there as well. Guys, you can become powerful by just keeping quiet and listening. There's always a time to speak, and then there's a time to listen and learn. So, yeah, but welcome to Nota, and I'm excited.
Appreciate the humbling words.
Sure. Thank you guys. I like to also say, like, you know, I think it's a mischaracterization to say, yo, this guy always speaks, ne? I've got headphones on. I spend maybe 98% of my time listening. I listen to podcasts, I listen to lectures, I'm always listening to stuff. I listen to people's music, I'm always listening. I also spent a lot of my time in the music industry not saying anything. I was always listening.
And you never used to.
I never said anything.
And every time when I bump into you, it'll be great, it'll be greetings, it'll be sharp. But most of the time he would be just, he would rather give the people he's with, or the artist whom he is with at the time,
the shine.
Sure.
He was more or less
solid.
You understand? So the thing is that was the whole entire purpose of what I was doing. I was bringing them to prominence. You know what I mean? I'd underdress myself and everything else so that whenever someone was looking at me, they'd look and not really pay too much attention to me. The reason why I started being more vocal is because of the necessity.
Yeah.
Because of what I'd learned, and also because I got to see behind the curtain of how this country is run, how the world works as well, how the world is run. I got to see that firsthand, you know. And now from the other side, I had two choices. It's either I stay on this side, and then they pay me all the money that they were offering me and everything else, and I just keep quiet and I profit myself, or I stab them in the back, right, and then give the information to the people that are being excluded.
Yeah.
And then, hopefully, those people in their numbers can rescue me when these corporate guys, you know...
Giving power to the people.
Hopefully, I'm just hopefully trying to be safe, you know what I mean? Because if more people support, if more people understand how the world is working and how it's constructed, then maybe they can see that brothers that look like us are not our enemies. And that our conflicts as people, as Africans, are brought about by people who want to sow division and who want to benefit from us being so divided and unable to speak with each other. You know, I'll give you an example. Like right now, there's a whole lot of stuff happening in the United States, and we're watching it, right? And then there's the LGBT community, they're speaking about their rights, and then there's the conservatives, they're speaking about their rights, then there's the anti-abortion or the pro-lifers that are speaking about what they want, and then there's those ones who are saying, no, abortion, Roe v. Wade, we're supporting that, right? And all of these people, when you see them speaking, you can see that they've never spoken to each other, because there are certain things that they say that they agree on.
Yeah,
but they can
because they've never spoken.
They won't, because of the tribalism.
Yeah.
And the tribalism is like, Mina, I'm LGBTQ. That's my tribe. I defend this tribe, whether we're right, whether we're wrong, I defend it. I don't listen to anybody else. And that whole entire culture, right, is now spreading way too much.
That's why Penuel is creating his own religion.
Yeah.
Creating my own tribe.
But also at the same time, I disagree with Penuel on a lot of things he says. So imagine if we can disagree like this. Ne?
Yeah.
But so what's Khulumisana? And we show this publicly to our brothers that these guys, they're disagreeing. It looks like they're fighting. The waiters here thought they were about to fight and everything else, right? No, this is Plomela. I'm not. When they come with the drink, no, sharp. We're continuing. We're just having a debate because there's ideas, right, that have infected us like viruses. And we are the bodies that spread these ideas.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a battle. Who is the better virus? Who is the better idea? And the only way we can know that is if these ideas can come and then we can have a discussion and see.
And sharpen minds.
That's
We're
it.
sharpening minds, literally.
So the first thing I'd like for us to get into is a 30-day grace period. I think by this time, I didn't think by this time we'd still be wearing masks.
So, for people that don't know, lockdown ended on the 4th of April, 2022. Officially, Cyril Ramaphosa with his family meetings came and he told us lockdown is over. And then he said, from here, we are giving you 30 days. We're going to keep the regulations in place. Just to acclimatize, number one, and also because they wanted to finalize a new way of living, a new normal. They wanted to take the Disaster Management Act and some of its prescriptions and put it in permanently into the National Health Act. Yeah. They allowed us to come and comment and contribute up until the 16th of April. A lot of us spoke. I think we spoke with Umandisa when she was here about people being politically active and involved. They then shifted it to the 24th of April. Okay, we want more comments. When was it? On the 4th of May.
Thank you.
On the 4th of May, midnight was when the 30 days was done. And what we understood is that on the 5th of May, we're now fully free. No masks. Your company doesn't have to ask you for a test, etc. Regulations were done. No minimal number of limited people in venues. And then just like that, just before midnight, Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who I think is the minister of COGTA, and I'd like to think Minister Joe Phatla of Health, they came and they're like, no, they're extending the regulations. And they still want to get more consultations on the way forward, which upset me incredibly. And I need to state, obviously, these are my personal views. I'm very upset with the president of the country, very upset with some of the ministers, very upset with the COVID Task Management Council or whatever they call themselves, because I think there's a lot of incompetence. There's a lot of, they're realizing they're going to lose this power they had during this period, and they're trying to shove it down our throats. Scientifically, there is no reason for a lot of the regulations to still be in place. And it is prejudicing and disadvantaging people in entertainment, people in hospitality, etc., etc. So I just wanted to explain what's happening currently and also just express my frustration at our supposed leadership who are no longer listening to the people on the ground. And it seems they're no longer listening to scientists as well.
Yeah, they've never listened, to be quite honest. I think for me, the most painful thing was seeing how, because DSTV bought our sports in South Africa, bought PSL or whatever, they sponsoring, but they've bought it because they control it. They did not feel the loss of income from people not coming to stadiums.
Yeah.
But when we go to stadiums, guys, we know that those are our brothers that are selling outside there. I'm a loose draw, all the things, you know what I mean, selling food and all that stuff. What are we thinking? Are those people eating if they're unable to trade? If people are not going to events, that's our economy. Capitec Bank is now talking about how it wants to invest in the informal economy because that's an unregulated and much bigger than people ever thought. Untapped market, right? But at the same time, they don't even recognize these informal traders as people that have got, economic needs. They don't even think about them when they're doing this corona virus command council decisions. You know what I mean? When they promulgated those decisions, the last people they thought about were the people that are in the informal sector. And we know that in South Africa, the informal sector is what feeds most families. They thought about the people that work at ShopRite, at the corporations and everything else, and they've got people to speak for them because the CEOs and the owners of those companies have got, you know, a seat at the table when it comes to speaking to the powers that be. But the informal traders, they've got no one that speaks for them, and no one ever thought about them. There's so many kids who have been taken to school because their mother sold amagwinya at taxi rank every single morning. Uvuka ngo-3 ekseni, thatha iwholesome yakhe, fake epotweni, enza amagwinya.
Facts.
Sell the whole entire bucket. A kid can go to school, can have Batu school shoes. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
I deliberately used Batu school shoes.
Come on.
You know, they're stronger, they're tougher. You understand? So you know what I mean?
I saw that.
So, you know, those are some of the things, and some of us have been raised like that. You know, I went to a high school. Metropolitan.
I'm a pans, ne? They tougher. Batu is tougher than okay.
Than other things. So, you know, at Rauco, I got to see that, you know what, the opportunities that are being given to black children in terms of like giving them a leg up, giving them a chance to actually integrate into the economy, right, are not being deliberately, you know, or distributed evenly. Rauco is because the school was owned by Metropolitan, the insurance company, and it's a joint venture between Metropolitan and Rand Afrikaans Universiteit, RAU, you know, what is it now?
UJ.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, UJ. So they bought DF Malan High School in Brixton, you know what I mean? And then they made sure that they've got a good school governing body. They took the top teachers in Gauteng in the district and they put them in that school, and they made sure that black kids go to that school or disadvantaged kids go to that school, right? This is the high school that I went to. So maybe like 90% of the kids came from Soweto. I was probably the only one who lived in Fourways, you know?
Sure.
And what I learned from that experience was that our mothers, whether usebenza emakishini, whether uthengisa amagwinya, that little income was enough to get us a seat at the table. Because once we've got our education, there were actuaries that came out of Rauco. The top accountants in the country come from Rauco, the black accountants. You know, some of the top executives at companies like McKinsey, you know, and company come from a school like Rauco. And what it taught me, because I went to like a primary school that was a private primary school first, which was where I was the only black kid, right?
Come on.
And which gave me the confidence to think that, okay, as the only black kid, I'm still the smartest kid in the school, which means black kids are smarter than white kids in general. Also, I'm smarter than all the white kids because I speak 4 languages. They can only speak 1. I mean, come on, this is like basic. You know what I mean? I can also speak C++. You know what I mean?
Take it easy. Take it easy on us, please, Nota. Take it easy on us.
This is primary school because we were learning programming in primary school and Delphi and all that stuff in primary school. When I got to the black school, now it's all the black geniuses. All of us. All the black geniuses. You understand what I'm saying? And I realized that because of the environment that they grew up in, they thought that the white kids in the better schools are smarter than them. And I'm like, yo, dog, I come from that school, those schools, I was smarter than them. I was smarter than all of them.
Sure.
I'm here in this old black school, and I'm not even the smartest one here.
I'm seeing flames now with the blacks.
You understand? Pella, you know, I had to learn how to speak vernac even more fluently and all those types of things, you know, and be into the culture a lot more. And I just feel like, you know, we've been taught to disrespect what our parents were able to do to provide for us. We've been taught to look down on it, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's why we find that we're struggling to take over our economy because we're not willing to do the basics or the bare necessities because we want to do what we've seen the whites doing in the past. And we forget that they had, since 1910, everything to themselves. And us, we were being created as a welfare class. Because if you look at Soweto, none of those houses were built by the people of Soweto. They were built by the National Party government. Yeah. They were forced into that housing. So if I didn't even build my own house, I didn't even design how it looks or anything else, I don't have that sense of ownership. We're seeing people improving the things now.
Dignity is the term.
Yeah. We're seeing people improving things now, but that's after the fact, right? That's after the fact. But they don't seem to have any loyalty to their communities, because the first thing you do when you get a job, aka PMG, you get yourself an apartment in my suburbs, get yourself a nice car, you understand? And now you're living just on the limits, on the credit limits, you know, you're on the limit, everything is on the limit, you're there. And then you're unable to go back elokishini and take your savings and invest in uplifting the community.
Of course, you've got nothing. I wanted to say, Usbuda, you tabled that there was a bill that was coming into effect, you know, in our last, I don't know if it was our last episode or the one before.
Yeah, it was
and
the last one.
Senzo Nota speaking about informal traders, in particular linked to the fact that, in effect, we're still almost under lockdown.
They are under lockdown still.
Sure.
Yeah. The informal traders, think about it.
I don't know if it's a conversation I had with Nota, this concern that the bill that's coming in is not going to benefit black South Africans. It's actually in the background, it's big white corporates that want to bring their container businesses into number one as a concern. And then I guess your thoughts as well about the fact that 30 days was up on the 4th of May, but we're not fully free. We're still forced to wear masks and the like.
Yeah, the whole world has moved on. The whole world is trading.
Yes,
you can see a lot of our entertainers there, chakatuling up and down the whole world.
Focalistic is on a US tour right now. Have you seen that? Focalistic.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't see
And 2 years ago, when he was named hottest MC, everyone like dissed me for saying, how can you say that about Focalistic? And I said, Focalistic is going to be touring the world. and Nasty C is going to be touring South Africa. You'll just watch. And what's happening right now?
Jeez. You know, just since we're still speaking about COVID in particular, one of the things that came out in the past few days was Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company, recorded record profits in the first 3 months of the year of about $26 billion US, 61 if not 70% increase in profits.
I buy Shahid.
And the other thing is, and this was one of the concerns when Cyril said lockdown is over and we're giving 30 days. That 30 days was obviously going to lead us into winter, where people are going to be getting flu and whatever, and we're seeing an uptick in infections.
The fifth wave.
Abantu bazokula, obviously it's winter, Mos.
Yeah, what I just forgotten and what I wanted to add was, I just heard Julius Malema in one of his speeches recently spoke about such an amazing idea. He spoke about a graduate grant. I'd never heard of such before.
A job seekers grant.
Like, okay, not job seekers. He spoke about a graduate grant. He was saying, if I'm a graduate and I can't get employment, government should pay me. So what I'm saying, Mina, is to remedy what has just happened with the economy, can't we have an entrepreneur's grant?
Informal trader.
If you've been running at least a small business that turns over a certain amount of money and you've been running it for at least the past 2 years, if not more, you're eligible for a certain amount of money as a grant.
I don't support grants. I just want to state that before Nota speaks.
Can I just say that won't work? Because
for business owners.
Yes.
But these people have been trading for a while.
Can I tell you why it won't work? Can I tell you why it won't work?
Okay, because
our government is captured by the corporations. So what Penuel is speaking about is that these rules are only here to benefit those few corporations who've got access to the people in power, who've got access to our political levers. You know what I mean? The laws are being put in place to benefit those corporations, and the bills are being drawn up by people within those corporations, and it's a top-down thing. Okay, this Gauteng Economic Development bill is not something that was promulgated by the people of the township who said, listen, we are township business people, we have formed an organization, and this is a white paper of a bill that we want the Gauteng government to... No, it's a populist bill that has been done because the premier needs something to give to the people so that at least by the time figure...
elections?
No. The conference. I need to...
yes. So it looks good when elections are coming.
Sure. But if you read through the fine details of these things, you can see that actually, if you've got capital, just the same way American companies, right? Now, people don't understand this about American companies. They say, no, American companies don't pay tax, and the left wing in America, right, is complaining that these companies don't pay tax, they move their jurisdictions overseas. That thing was not designed to make America poorer, or they're not stealing from the tax system. No, America doesn't tax its companies so that they can go and enter new markets and compete with companies that are being taxed in those markets because they are native to that country.
The apartheid government did that.
without paying taxes in those countries. So
Sure.
Apple is registered in Northern Ireland, right? And now, because it's registered in a tax haven, its profits are there in the tax haven. It doesn't have to pay tax in America. It doesn't have to pay tax in Northern Ireland. And what does that mean? Our balance sheet means we can expand our business.
Sure.
We can up manufacturing, and we can outcompete Ericsson. We can outcompete Nokia. We can outcompete all of these companies, even the Japanese companies, the Sonys, even the Korean companies, the Samsungs. We can outcompete them, and we've got a bigger cash balance. And if you look at a company like Apple, right, and look at its cash balance, right, it's got one of the biggest balance sheets. But if you look at a company like Samsung, Samsung makes everything Apple makes, and makes things that Apple doesn't make.
Yes, I've seen
and they
that.
own the entire South Korean economy.
Yes.
Is owned by Samsung.
I've seen that. We
And
can
they
discuss
also-
Samsung
and
on
they
another
also-
day.
no,
It's a very
and they
scary
also
company.
make the touch screens.
It's a very
for
scary
Apple.
company.
And they also make the touch screens for Apple. The touch screens are made by Samsung, and they also make our COVID tests for the world. Samsung is the company that made our COVID tests, the PCR tests. So why is it that Samsung doesn't have the same cash balance
As Apple.
Because Apple doesn't get taxed, and that is their competitive advantage. So all these international companies that, or not international, all these big apartheid benefactors, they've got capital.
Yes.
Now, they can come into the township. The township has people, but doesn't have capital.
Yes.
And therefore, people can't start the businesses that can supply for the needs of the population within the township.
Sure.
They need capital. Now, that capital is not coming in and saying, oh, we're investing in DJ Spoo. We're building a big depot. We want to make sure that Etembisa, all the traders, they can get their Mofire. It's manufactured there, whatever, and we are giving him this much money and a grant or whatever these grants that you say you don't want, which helped Elon Musk build Tesla. We're giving him that so that Mofire can actually dominate within that a market, or can actually grow into that market. No, they don't do that. They come, they say, oh, we'll put a U-Save container, a ShopRite. You understand? And we will supply the products. We'll do the whole entire thing. We're just expanding our distribution chain. That's all that is happening. And we will not be able to compete, even with this bill, as black people. We will not be able to compete in this township economy because we don't have the capital. So, all good meaning, all well meaning, but people don't understand what the builds mean. People don't understand what it materializes. I mean, we had a promise of what South Africa would be as a rainbow nation in 1994, and we haven't seen that materializing. So what can we go on that the government has given us or promised us in the past that can make us believe that this township economic bill is actually going to work and benefit us? Nothing. So we need to be skeptical, and we also need to ensure that right now, while the consultation is happening, we are making sure that we are excluding ShopRite. Asifuni ShopRite ekasi. Asifuni Mr. Price ekasi. We don't want anyone that benefited from apartheid and that accumulated their capital within the apartheid system to be entering the township market, because the township market, right, is a market that is there because the townships were created as labor camps. Soweto built Johannesburg. Soweto built Sandton. All of the wealth that you're seeing here, it is built by our township because that's where the labor comes from.
True.
And then we didn't even have electricity in Soweto. The only light was the street lights. People had candles, paraffin, and everything else. All of that stuff, we were suffering. And the economy was benefiting. And we weren't reaping those rewards. And now they want to subjugate us again.
For me, that would be the boost, because the problem when you give these people money, and we've seen it, it cripples their minds. It's going to be a 6-month, 12-month, 2-year to catch up. After those 2 years, this person going to be like, entrepreneurs.
But what about loans?
That's not the mindset that I want for our people. And like I said, I'm speaking about a Somalian businessman. And we've sat, obviously with the Operation Tutula. I've sat with a lot of supposedly foreign business owners. And the biggest thing for them is get the mindset right. And it's a mindset of we can do for ourselves. We can fight. We can collaborate and fundraise so that we can get the capital. For black South Africans, we just need our government to be like, number one, we're not going to stand in your way with red tape. And number two, because you're going to be creating jobs for our people who are going to vote for us, we will give you whatever subsidies you need. if you're an entrepreneur, we're not going to give you a grant, but we'll tell you you don't have to pay tax. You don't have to pay for this. Do you want to export? We'll make sure that it's free or cheap or whatever the case may be.
That's it.
That's my whole issue, that there's a mindset issue with me with grants that I hate it. Because it creates a dependency syndrome in this country, which then makes our government able to bully us as they do now.
Also, I believe that township businesses should not pay tax. Our townships should be tax-free zones. Why? Because our townships have been where our labor has been extracted. The value that is created, the roads that everything, the infrastructure, the townships have already paid for that with their labor, with their exploitation, with their children, for how many generations and generations.
It continues in the mines, no?
Yes. Right now, we should not even have unions. Why do we have unions? Why did NUMSA reject the proposal to have a workers' association that owns equity in the mines so that they can have a board seat and a seat at the table when they are deciding, okay, how much are we giving the salary to the CEO? Oh, 360 million this year. Yes, let's take that 360 million, let's divide it amongst the workers, because we are workers, we are here on the board and we are here to make this decision. Does anybody vote for us to give this thing to the workers so that we can prevent a strike? And then you can lobby within the board. But right now, the workers are out there. Foreman does not even want to hear them. You know, he's not even listening to the president, Cyril, the ex-shareholder whose shares he bought to turn it into Sibanye Stillwater when it was Lonmin Platinum Mines, you know, to the PMG. They are now saying, okay, Mkhukhu saying, no, miners should get 20,000 per month. 20,000, I think it should be 25,000. You know, I don't think anyone should be risking their life going underground. There's miners that were trapped underground. The thing fell in a sinkhole, now in Carltonville as well. They haven't been found. There hasn't been a rescue plan. The news cameras are not there saying, hey, these miners have gone underground. And these are the people that built our economy. I tweeted, when was it? The other day, and I posted it on my Instagram. And I just want to read it to you. It says, miners are the nation's breadwinners. The tax revenues from mining provide the funds the state needs to run the country. The men that are being sent underground are responsible for the employment of everyone that gets to sit behind a desk in the South African economy. Do you understand what that means? It means, Mawusebenza bank, the reason you've got that privilege is because someone went underground. Do you understand what our people have sacrificed for this country? And all that sacrifice, the only people that are benefiting are those in power. And I can't say white people are the ones that are benefiting. No. Because there's different whites. There's the whites, and then there's the white elite.
Sure.
The white elites are the only ones that benefit from this whole entire system. And the whites who are not part of the elite, the coloreds who are not part of the elite, the blacks who are not part of the elite, the Indians who are not part of the elite were being made to fight amongst each other.
Of course.
Just so that the white elites can benefit.
That's race politics, that.
It's division. And it's May now. In April, the human genome, our genetic DNA, sonke, as people all over the world, was identified finally. And what it says is that human beings do not have a biological race. We are one race. There's no difference in all of we've got the same genome. The only difference is our exposure to UV light based on how much sun we get in the areas where we have naturalized. Right?
I spoke about the mitochondrial Eve gene.
Yes.
Sure.
I researched it a bit, and then it says that all over the world, all populations, all races, all
human
of us,
beings,
were all connected to a female in Kenya.
Yes.
Exactly.
I have
in the Serengeti.
I have two comebacks to Nota. Sorry, that I just need to table. The first one being, he says foreigners are not the issue.
No. I'm not the enemy.
I'm not the enemy. My apologies. In the township business.
Yeah.
And mind you, we're not speaking about undocumented people. We're not speaking about criminals.
No.
Just speak about foreigners.
Yeah. Illegal immigrants are criminals.
Who weren't born here and who run businesses. One of the comebacks that a lot of people have compared to the big white corporates is that the big white corporates create jobs for black people. And they pay tax, which ends up being used for free education or grants or whatever the case may be, versus some of these foreign business owners
tax.
Who don't hire black South Africans, who also maybe don't pay tax as well, kind of situation. So that's my first comeback. The second one is, mining used to be a very big in our economy. I don't know if at its peak it might have been 60%. It's gone down a lot over the years, and
but it's still the biggest.
It might even be at yeah, I'm gonna throw a number now, but I know the squatters will correct me. But maybe
think it's
4% to 10% of a
check.
contribution, because most developing economies in the world are now run on services and not so much tangible stuff. So an accountant will earn 40,000 and a miner will earn 10,000. A farmer or a farm worker will earn 3,000 for making food, and the person who does services in law, whatever the case, is charging 2,000 rand an hour. So the economies have shifted from goods, products to services, and we see the same in our economy. We're not manufacturing textiles. We're not manufacturing a lot of the goods that we use. Mining has become a very small part. Even agriculture in itself has also become smaller than it used to be. Yeah. And for me, those are some of the industries that I think for the masses, we need to forget about rich
Just
people
under
living in
5%.
Sandton.
So yeah, you're
under
right.
5%.
Just
4%.
under 5%.
So just for the masses aren't living in Sandton. They aren't living a first world life. They need to pretend like we're still third world and utilize the land they have to farm, to manufacture and build for themselves and gain the dignity that our people need. I just wanted to have those two comebacks before we continue.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. The thing is that in this world, right, it's not black and white, good and evil in that sense.
Sure.
So
the world is not binary.
Yeah. There's nuance to it. What I'm saying is that the foreigners, especially the African foreigners, the Somalians, or even the Middle Eastern and Bangladeshi, whatever,
Okay.
they're a better devil than the white elites.
What do they do for black South Africans?
What I'm saying to you is that they did not do what the white elites had done to black South Africans.
I fully agree.
So
They have not committed the same atrocities. I agree.
And from that level, from that playing ground, it makes it easier for us to have progressive conversations about how we can move forward together. The second point that you had as well is about the lack of dignity. I cannot have a negotiation with you if I don't have self-dignity. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's our job as South Africans, as natives here. Our job is to, or those of us who have got influence, those of us who have ascended to some level of influence as well. Our job is to inspire, give the young kids dignity. You know what I mean? Give them dignity. That's our job.
Self-love,
Everything.
self-belief, self-awareness.
And guess how we can do that? We can do that through exploitation of our culture. Smuda used to play Jay-Z Take Over every morning. And I love Jay-Z.
That was my favorite breakfast show.
I know Jay-Z's lyrics back to front, his entire catalog. I've got an MBA in Jay-Z. I said this before.
Come on.
And knowing those lyrics, knowing what he was saying and understanding, and then watching him make the business moves inspired and conscientized me. Same thing about listening to Smooth's breakfast show and everything else. Him going out in the streets, whether it was when he was doing things with containers, SIM cards, whatever. You name it. All those. And seeing him continuing, right, made me believe that if I do this, I don't need to care if people laugh at me. They're laughing at him because he's the next man.
Yes.
You don't know that maybe 10 years later, he might have a company that sells more knickknacks than Tiger brands.
Come on.
Within the next, by 2025,
Prophecy.
by 2025, by 2025, Smooth knickknacks will sell more than
Okay.
than the other knickknacks that are available or whatever it is, chips or whatever it is. Ne?
Sure.
FMCG, trust me.
Sure.
You know, we won't be looking at Tiger brands and thinking to ourselves, oh no, we need to find someone to give them 30% share or whatever, BEE. Because that is the grant, that is the welfare system that you're talking about. No, we're going to say Smooth, and we say this guy became an FMCG giant.
Yes.
Simbugele.
Yes.
Hustling, doing it like Abo Mama Betu, abating sama kwenye marenke.
Yes.
Doing it like them.
Yes.
And became an FMCG giant.
Yes.
We're going to do that, and that's going to give us that dignity, because the dignity comes from seeing one of us being able to do it. And once we've got that dignity, now we can have proper negotiations. Now we can say, you know what, white corporate elite, we're going to punish you for everything that you've done to us. And we're going to rather partner with our brothers from the continent. Because another thing that is very important is that we must not think that immigration is an enemy of South Africa. No. South Africa must be the country where everybody wants to come. Elon Musk must want to come back to South Africa. We need to convince Elon Musk to want to come back to South Africa. He needs to think to himself that, you know what? I left South Africa because I thought America was better. And it was. But now South Africa has improved to a level where it's even better than America. Because we do have the cultural heritage that America doesn't have. And we also have the diversity that America doesn't have. And we also have a mixture of people from all over the world that no other country on the African continent has. And what does the African continent has? It has a youthful population, which means the production of the future world is going to be done here on the African continent. So we are the next superpower. We've got all the potential we need to be the next superpower. And the biggest, the biggest stumbling block that we have right now, especially as Black South Africans, is that we lack our self-dignity.
Sure.
And therefore, we cannot even fight for ourselves.
I want to ask you a quick question. It's rhetorical because I have my personal experience. Are other African foreigners that are here, are they willing to work with Black South Africans? Because my question was, what are they doing for Black South Africans? Are they willing to work with Black South Africans if we extend our hand?
Okay. Yes and no. And let me explain the no part first. I don't fault them in the no part, because many of them come from countries where they've given up on their national pride, they've given up on fighting for each other. I'll use Zimbabwe as an example. And if you look at just Zimbabwean people in South Africa, most of them, you can tell that they don't have a love for their country. They don't have a love for their people. The richest Zimbabwean man is Masiyiwa.
Shout out to Strive. I think he's overtaken
no
Patrice.
No shout outs. How can you be the richest man from your country? You don't even live in your country. That is a shame.
Okay.
The fact that your country is in such a condition where you cannot even live in it. Patrice lives in South Africa. He drives on our street. I bump into Patrice all the time in Bryanston. You know what I mean? And his bodyguards allow me to come up to him and wave.
But
And
he's got a
it's
history
S-class.
with Zim.
No.
Strive.
I understand the history. That on its own, what does it say to the kid in Zimbabwe who wants to become the next Strive Masiyiwa? Because they're using EcoNet, EcoCash, they're phoning, they're buying the things, magic. What does it say to that kid? It says that for me to be something in this world, I need to leave Zimbabwe and make something of myself. And that is the wrong attitude to have if you want to have a people that have got a pride in their nation and who want to actually uplift their nation. There's no love for one another, as there's no brotherly love for one another. You understand what I'm saying? When Elvis Nyati died and was killed in Diepsloot,
yeah.
it was organizations, the Kopanong Africa, whatever. Kopanong Africa, I don't even think it's a registered business. It's 4 people with a laptop or whoever. And because they're able to be put on the news and everything else, we think that it's a big organization. They couldn't even organize a march. I'm just saying, if you could take all the people from Zimbabwe that work in South Africa and they wanted to stand up and say, listen, not one of our own is not going to be killed like a dog here. We're going to march. We would have seen a march. But
You're saying Zimbabweans in South Africa are not united?
What I'm saying is that they saw one of their own brothers being killed and they didn't even bat an eyelid.
Sure.
They didn't even, and that, for me, means that they've lost their humanity as a people. It's been beaten out of them. They've lost all hope in humanity. The corruption in that country has made the people turn against each other, and it's every man for himself. There's no one who's going to stand up and say, I'm going to fight for my fellow citizens. There's no one who's going to... why is it not a Zimbabwean organization that's advocating for the people that were affected in Diepsloot? It's not. It's South African organizations, it's other people, it's Europeans, it's whatever. It's the guy from Swaziland, what's his name? That old man, that white man. You know what I mean? Who's always on SABC1?
No.
Who's always on SABC1, some old white man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Terry or whatever. You know what I mean? Those are the people who are speaking on their behalf. Where are their own people speaking on their behalf? You know what I mean? A guy like Hopewell Chinono, I respect him because he still has that humanity. He's still going back to his country. He's still farming. There's people that are out there in the world. Right? Zimbabwe has got agricultural land, has got all these opportunities.
It's a wealthy nation.
And people are there. Its people have said, we are giving up on our country. We are fighting to get citizenship in other countries. That attitude is something that we don't want to see happening in South Africa. And it is coming. Because that lack of dignity is the start of it.
You're explaining why they can't... They won't do business with Black South Africans.
That's the reason why. Because they won't do business. it's every man for himself. They could
And
be
you were just using
family
Zimbabwe
members.
as an
I'm just
example.
using it as one example because
Sure.
it's every man for himself, because that's the one country where they've had the greatest deprivation. You understand what I'm saying? If us as black people, we were beating up our own black brothers and everything else, and there was so much tribalism, and there was ANC elite that, you can't say anything about them. You can't start an EFF organization to counter them. You can't be DA, you'd be killed and shot. You can't be IFP, you'd be massacred. If that was the country that you were in, then think about the type of people that type of system produces. And those are the type of people that are, hey, it's me. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for myself. I'm crossing the border. It's fine. Okay, I managed to get a passport. It doesn't matter. They don't care about one another. They don't care about their people. They don't care about their country. And that is the no part. And that is what's preventing them from working with others.
Like
Because-
South Africans.
Disagree, but I hear you.
Yeah. And then the yes
Yeah,
part...
my personal experience is also different, but I
No.
needed him to answer.
The yes part,
Sure.
the yes part is that there are people who are committed to uplifting their country. There are people who are committed to uplifting their nation and everything else. They come to South Africa to get opportunities, to access opportunities, but they're using that to empower their people back home to try and bring some semblance of hope to the people back home. And those ones are more than willing. They work with South Africans all the time. There's so many. There are so many.
Sure.
There's many that I work with. You know what I mean? Like, even right now, I'm consulting with a young brother who owns a mobile bar business. He's from Zimbabwe.
Sure.
Never mind. Obviously, my wife is from Zimbabwe. But there's so many other people that I've been able to connect with. And those people have got a love. But the ones that I've seen, even within my own family, they've completely lost their love for Africa. They've completely lost their love for Africans. And the mere fact that if a guy like Masiyiwa owns the biggest mobile network in Zimbabwe, is able to live peacefully, have farms, wine farms in London and England and everything else, and just be at ease with that, then it means that he's benefiting from the situation that is happening right now. His company is growing. He's richer and richer and richer. He's overtaken Patrice Motsepe. Okay, fine. Let's celebrate him for that. But your people are suffering in their numbers. They're being slaughtered. They're being looked at as vermin in foreign countries. Seriously, that's how people are being treated. People are saying, we don't want Zimbabweans here. How do you then have pride and then say, yes, I'm the richest man in Southern Africa? Meanwhile, people from your own country are treated like subhumans in neighboring countries because their own country treats them even worse.
I've got a huge comeback to that. Sorry, Sbuda.
Okay, go right ahead.
You don't have something to say?
No, go in.
No, I just want to say I've been tracking rich lists, since my early days in tertiary. Forbes list, Bloomberg, etc. Again, officially need to give a shout out to Masiyiwa from Zimbabwe. He's now the wealthiest black man, I believe, in Southern Africa, overtaking Patrice. One of the things I had to learn, this was in particular to Siya Kolisi as captain of the Springboks. Siya Kolisi didn't start playing rugby because he was doing it for political reasons. Because he wanted to be Ubantu Bigo we rugby. He loved the sport, was really good at it. And he got along with so many white Afrikaans people, and they wanted him to lead our nation, and they lifted a World Cup. Found a woman.
No, I just want to correct you.
Sure.
And I want you guys to continue. I'll quickly rush to the restroom. By the way, guys,
Cool.
This is a podcast, so sometimes we'll just run off and run back.
But I just want to say,
don't lose that thought.
in the rugby thing, Dwayne Vermeulen was supposed to be captain of the team. There was an ill-disciplined thing that he did, and to punish him, they made Siya Kolisi captain for 2 matches. But because of the political celebration, we've got our first black rugby captain. Then they made him the permanent captain after that.
Sure.
So
let me carry on. Let me carry on. So,
I just wanted to ensure that.
Shout out to Siya
factually,
Kolisi. Shout out to
He got the opportunity.
Dwayne Vermeulen.
the number 8.
At some point, a lot of people were saying Dwayne is actually the real captain, etc. So I understand.
He was
Anyways.
supposed to be.
Sure.
But he ill-disciplined, and then they gave the captaincy to Siya for 2 matches. It was announced that, no, we're giving him the captaincy for these 2 matches. And then after that, it was like, hey, we can't fire him. He's our first black captain.
So, Usia was one of the leaders in the Springboks. So obviously if Dwayne was first choice, it's fine. Sia was second choice.
Even if you're in top five.
He lifted the World Cup, and there was a time when I was emotional because he was asked about quotas. And he said if Mandela was alive, he wouldn't support quotas, etc. I got emotional because I come from a rugby background, and I understand the importance of quotas and how it put a lot of black players on. But very quickly thereafter, I had to realize that Usia never got into rugby to be a politician or an activist. In the same breath, Strive Masiyiwa, as I said earlier, has had a history with Zimbabwe where he even fought against Robert Mugabe, who didn't want him to get a license to have, I think it's EcoNet. And for people that don't know, EcoCash is a cashless way of transferring money, which I think was inspired by M-Pesa in Eastern
Kenya.
Africa. We've tried it here, it didn't really work. You know, we've got our e-wallets and our cash sends, etc. So he's done really well in having a cashless option for Zimbabweans, especially at a time when the Zim dollar was a problem, whatever the case may be. I don't know fundamentally if Strive Masiyiwa grew up saying, I want to be a hero for Zimbabweans. I don't know if his thing wasn't,
but
I want to be the greatest.
Is he not now?
No, but I don't know if that's what he wanted.
But is he not now because he's the richest?
Hear me. So you're talented, and I'm going to use this gentleman as an example. We've got Benny McCarthy, we've got Percy Tau. These are guys that wanted to play soccer, football.
And what did Benny do?
And they became really great.
And what did Benny do?
And in being great, they were signed by teams in Europe. And that's what they wanted, and that's what we want for them.
But Benny is the first one to strike
and
when
in a situation where
paid.
In a situation where you've got, let's say Upesita or Benny are from a township that is struggling with poverty. Let's say they're from a Deep Sluit or from a Alex. I'm making an example.
Hanover Park.
I'm making an
That's
example.
where Benny's from. Hanover Park.
I'm making an example.
The gangster capital of South Africa. Hanover Park.
So Upeni,
you don't make it out of there alive.
So Upeni, as a kid that wanted to play football, that was his dream. And now that he's
bullets in Hanover Park.
And now that he's become really great, it almost becomes unfair for him to now want to be pushed into becoming a political activist, into being responsible. And it's almost like Strive mustn't live in London. He mustn't live in Hong Kong.
He mustn't.
Elon Musk mustn't go to America. And it's like, why must I limit
Elon Musk
why
buy
must
Twitter?
I limit my greatness when if I wanted to be a politician, I could have gone into politics. I'd be president of the country.
Why did Elon Musk buy Twitter?
You know, and for me, I think as a comeback, I've got my own personal issues with billionaires. I've got my own personal issues with capitalism as a system. I understand exactly where you're coming from. But my big issue is we need to sometimes remember that these guys didn't grow up saying, I want to be a philanthropist. I want to give back to the nation. They grew up saying, I want to be a very successful businessman.
Same here.
And they're doing it now.
Same here.
And now in the same way that some people police people's pockets, I'm worried that we're now trying to force them to do things that they never asked to do. And you almost want to limit their greatness.
I hear you.
In a country that you're saying some of the people have given up. Instead of him carrying on being great.
He is great.
And then maybe building or maybe moving some money to Zim where and when he can.
Okay. I hear you.
Sure.
I didn't grow up thinking that I want to change people's lives. I didn't grow up thinking that I'm going to take people from the township, uplift them so that they can support their families, they can take their kids to private schools and all that type of stuff. I got that responsibility when it came to me. With great power comes great responsibility. With great influence comes great responsibility. Even right now, like last week I even said, I had to rebrand my social media. I realized that, I've got so much influence on so many people. I can't, when someone makes a comment at me, I can give you the most painful insults. I can. I've got the capability of it. I've done it before. I've trolled and everything else. But now, as the Nota that I am, I'm too influential to punch down on people because they don't see my vision. Now I need to be presidential.
But must you be forced?
It means that I'm forced. You're
not forced.
I'm telling you, you can slap me in the face right now. I will not strike back at you because God has put me in a position where I can empower people, and I cannot allow my ego to take over the mission that God has placed before me. Now, fine, you believe in Penuelism. I believe in God. God has done amazing things in my life. Everything I've seen that is amazing in my life. My mother's an orphan. At 5 years old, she had no parents. My father's a pauper. My father is a pauper. My grandmother fed my father from picking peanuts. When someone says they are paid peanuts, that is what raised my father. My grandmother was paid in peanuts. I come from abject poverty. And look at me. Look at how far I've come. That is God. I respect God. God has put me in a position of influence. And I cannot take that gift and then say it's for me. No. I'm not smart. I'm not brilliant. I'm not a genius. This is all God. Everything you hear coming out my mouth, this is God's intellect. This is God's genius. This is God's talent. This is God's blessings. The same way DJ Smooth picked up the responsibility. His mother's not rich. He didn't have a bazar when he went to Vets Tech. Understand? He didn't have to help us. He didn't have to lift us up. He didn't have to inspire us. It was a responsibility. God gave him a gift. Let me tell you something. If he did not answer to that call from God, God would have taken everything from him. Everything. People have tried to take everything from Smooth. And God has said no every single time. Why? Because God has put him on this place to be a testament. And that's it. We are a testament. I'm a testament. You are a testament. We're all testaments. When Masiyiwa dies, people will judge what he did with his riches. When Elon Musk dies, people will judge what he did with his riches. When Bill Gates dies, people will judge what they did with their riches. When Petrus Motsepe dies, people will judge what he did with his riches. When Cyril Ramaphosa dies, people will judge what he did with his riches. History will judge you.
Want some more?
You understand what I'm saying? So our mortality is a limit. It's the greatest limit. It's the greatest beauty. I know that I'll probably live 90 to 125 years. That's probably the limit, right? Within the 90 to 125 years that I can live, that is the opportunity for me to create something that will outlive me. You die twice in life. The day you die and the last time they say your name. I want to make sure that 1,000 years pass before it's the last time they say my name. The same way 2,000 years have passed and we're still saying Jesus Christ's name. The same way however many years have passed and we're still saying Mansa Musa's name. The same way however many years have passed and we're still talking about people who lived thousands of years BC. We're still talking about Tutankhamun and all those things. That's the impact that I want to have in life, because I want to show people what God can do when he touches the life. And I want people to believe that this is all God's creation.
What I love about the conversation, the direction has moved to purpose. What an incredible thing. And we didn't lead it there. But you could tell God just took it there. The importance of living with purpose, or living for your purpose, or understanding what purpose is. Sure. I know it wasn't on the topics, but seeing that we're already there, let's just go in. And I love the fact that Penuel, you are one of those amazing young, brave young people to say, I'm going to go start a religion. I've never heard of anybody that has ever said such.
Sure.
And you've always been one person who's always spoken about purpose. He's made some good examples about purpose and the power of purpose. And I'm totally with you as well. When you build a business or you just inspired to want to become somebody, you don't telling yourself I want to be a politician or I want to save the nation. You're building a business.
Yes.
And then at some point, as they say, with too much power comes great responsibility, right? At some point, when do you say, you know what, this is not for me. This is no longer even for my family. This is for my nation.
It's bigger than us.
This is for humanity. Let's talk about purpose before we move the conversation over to the next topic that we did touch on the last time, but it was before the court case, the Senzo Meyiwa case. We'll get into it just now. But for now, let's have a little bit more conversations around purpose.
I want to say this. So first and foremost, Masiyiwa is heavily religious. He's been supported greatly by the Christian church, especially when he was fighting Robert Mugabe or the Robert Mugabe government for a license for his cell phone network. I understand and I love and I cherish the passion that Nota is coming with purpose. But I have to emphasize that I have a problem with us having to force, and in one of our episodes I spoke about this thing. Masiyiwa, as a young boy from Zim, went and he had a huge dream. and he built a great network, a cell phone network, and he built a great eco-cash system, and I don't know what other businesses he has there. He's created jobs. There's tax that's being paid. I'm sure there's CSI initiatives. He's inspired kids on the ground seeing, hey, a guy like me who's a Christian boy can achieve this.
Yeah.
He can go against, this is David versus Goliath. He was David and he beat Goliath and he got the network.
Yeah.
I have a problem with us having to shove things down his throat, maybe that he hasn't accepted, because I believe you have to accept your purpose as well. I do
That's
believe he is living his purpose. And I do believe part of his purpose, we're speaking about Elon Musk. We're speaking about Trevor Noah, for example. And for me, I don't like having to tell Sbu, don't leave South Africa. And it's like, I can do more for South Africa being in Europe. Because we don't know if you believe in God. We don't know where God is taking you. You know? Anyways, with that being said,
But I
do believe
we're not forcing it.
we need to listen more to ourselves. So this is speaking specifically on purpose. We are the product of people that came before us, our parents, our grandparents, and people before that. We are also a product of our influences around us, whoever's inspiring us, a DJ Sbu. So you'll become one of my ancestors that my children will know. And when they speak about Zimbabwe, to Penuel, or no DJ Sbu, or Sbusiso Liop, you are going to be part of my story. So in finding your purpose, I think the Chinese call it ikigai. You have to listen. Some call it meditation, some call it prayer. And you have to look at, when you're listening, you have to look at the environment you're in. You have to look at what skills, talents you have. You have to look at what do people need from me. You have to look at what will the world reward me for. And then you have to plug into that. And then once you find that thing, it doesn't matter. And this was Nelson Mandela. You've got children, you've got a family, you've got a budding career in law. It doesn't matter what storms are raging out there. You have to plug into that thing 100%, and you have to let it kill you, because that now becomes your calling, because it's bigger than you. I know, I don't know if Elon Musk's mom, which he took to the Met Gala, spoken about this, but sometimes your child, a Ronaldinho, or Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, is called to serve the world. And it's like you have to let them go. And this is for men now, intelligent women can see that in a man. And they're like, your husband is always away. It's like, I realize that the world needs him more than us. I hold the fort at home. At least my daughters have got me. I don't know if Michelle Obama's spoken about this. I realized, Guti, I can't have him to myself. And for you, it's plugging in and being like, whether it came in a dream, whether it came in meditation, whether you are praying to a God you believe in, you're like, this is what I'm called for. For me, obviously, it's we're creating so many cool things. New music, NFTs, crypto. People are creating beverage companies. People are creating music. The religions that we have right now, which are systems of belief, 2,000, 2,500, 4,000 Hinduism.
Wokeism.
They old. And I'm like, why can't we come up with a new one? If you guys are saying we can come up with electric cars and we can come up with new planes, why can't we come up with new belief systems?
Can I tell you why?
Want to do that. I want to write those scriptures. I want a new way of being.
Can I tell you why?
Because I believe that if there's a calling, if there's a God out there, this is the message it's giving to me. It's like, Pen, listen, homie, it's cool what the people have with me. And I'm saying, take it to the next level. Let this thing evolve. And you're not going to create anything new. You're going to borrow from the principles that I've given to the universe. Buddhism, whatever the case may be. But times have changed, and I'm sending you to go and liberate the people with this new thing. And you're not going to be a prophet. You're not going to be a pastor. You're going to be God. And you're going to give people a new way of being. But it's still plugging into the universe and winning.
So you are living out your purpose?
I believe so.
Okay, so I just want to say one thing. We're not forcing anybody to do anything. We're not forcing anybody to do anything, and no one is beyond criticism or beyond reproach. I'm going to use an example. Cecil John Rhodes. Let's use him as Strive Masiyiwa. He's now dead. What happens to his statues? His statues come down. Like I said, you've got your lifetime to build what will outlive you, to build your legacy, to build the last time people will say your name. And how do they say your name? Do they speak about you proudly, or do they speak about you disparagingly? You understand what I'm saying? Nelson Mandela had his time to live, and his legacy has been criticized. His legacy has been challenged. And guess what? His legacy is standing the test of time, because right now we are realizing that Utata chose the moral higher ground every single chance the devil tested him. Every single chance the devil tested Utata, he took the moral higher ground, which means na as a sinner, na as an imperfect person. I can look to Utata and say, you know what, I might be imperfect and I might be human, just like Utata. We've read his whole entire life story. He's told us about, the failed marriages, his relationships, yonke into everything that he did bad and everything that he failed in. I mean, the Rivonia treason trial was a failure because they got caught. They got caught. You understand what I'm saying? To overcome like that and to be a living testament. And then after you die, you are still a testament, even when you are criticized, even when, you understand what I'm saying? That is what serving a greater purpose does for you. But if you serve selfish needs like Cecil John Rhodes to create your own country called Rhodesia, you understand? No, I'm taking you to Strive Masiyiwa. I'm taking you to Strive Masiyiwa because that's Rhodesia. It's Rhodes' country. That's what he did. Is that the settlement was that, okay, fine, this South Africa will share it with these Dutch capitalists as well, but I'll take my own country there, Rhodesia. You understand what I'm saying? He served himself. And that is why his statues are being torn down. That is why roads must fall. You understand what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is that you can do whatever you want, but we will judge your legacy. One day people will have to decide, after they see what happens with Twitter, whether they're going to take down statues of Elon Musk or they're going to erect them when he dies. And he wants to die because he doesn't want his ideas to live to such a point where he has to kill people to defend them. Because that's what you find happening right now. And also, you're talking about new religions and everything else. What you miss is that those religions that survive today are here because people killed for them.
I agree.
You understand? You have not spilled blood for your religion.
I agree.
So therefore, the sacrifice that it took to make sure that those ideas survive is what keeps them perpetuating. Because millions of people have sacrificed for those ideas, for those belief systems. There's millions of places in the world, there's millions of people all over the world who've got certain beliefs because millions of people died, fought wars for thousands of years. They've been fighting those wars to protect these belief systems and these ways of living. You understand? There's conservatism, there's modernization and everything else. So now that we're in this, this simulation, this post-modernistic, post-industrial, post-modern society, which is a simulation, basically. It is a simulation. It's not a simulation in that we're in a computer game. No. We're not in a computer game. But it's a simulation in that this world has rules. You understand? It's got rules. We work by the certain rules. There's certain systems that you need to apply. You need to modulate yourself to fit into this system so that you can progress. Because life has been created into a simulation, right? We need to unplug from the simulation. Go back to our authenticity. Find our true essence if we're going to find a greater purpose for our people. And the fact that people lack dignity is a result of the wars that were waged on them to strip them of their dignity, to strip them of their identity, to basically make them savages, to uncivilize them. Because we said your way of living is primitive, it's uncivilized. The thing is this, our way of living is actually sustainable. The industrial way of living is unsustainable.
I agree.
So when you see Southern Africans who have had the sustainability, who have had the benefit of being so far away from any other enemies, that they could continue that way of life and sustain it nicely without having to industrialize, without having to do that. And then you see other people who come with another system that subjugates its own people, that turns people into slave laborers, that puts them in factory. Carnegie, you understand? There's the steel company, the Carnegie Steel Company. Andrew Carnegie. People worked 7 days a week, only had the 4th of July as a holiday. And that's how that man became rich. And now we must celebrate that. No, we don't celebrate that because there's no conservation in that. It was just about consumption. We're learning right now the damage it's done to our environment. Rockefeller, Standard Oil, petroleum and everything else. For many years, they put lead in petroleum, poisoning us, poisoning the world. Motor cars were poisoning people. They had to remove the lead because they realized that this lead that is in the cars is actually seeping into people's bones. And we know now that this is when lead petrol started being used, because we've examined people's corpses. And ever since lead started being used in the people's corpses that have died post the leaded petrol era, all of them have got lead in their body. All of them have got lead in their bones, and lead is a poison. Lead and argon are the things that kill us. You understand what I'm saying? Those are our poisons, the elements. So there's so much that we are missing in purpose because we don't have our dignity. We haven't claimed that back. And there's so much that we're missing in actually taking responsibility. I had that temptation. Trust me. I used to have these arguments all the time. People would come at me on social media and everything else, and they'd come at me. And then I realized that, no, man, I can't be fighting fire with fire here because I'm not winning. I had to fight fire with fire, and then I realized that, no, this strategy is not working. I need to go on a more godly path. God has called me for a mission, and Mina, I'm distracting the people that need to hear my message because I'm busy trapped up in the fights with the devil. I'm trapped up in the fights with the devil. No. I don't want to fight with the devil anymore. I want to serve the purpose. I don't want to insult people. I don't want to go at people. No. Mina, I'm about the truth. You understand? I'm about behaving presidentially. You can insult me. You can slap me in the face. I will turn the other cheek. Like God said I should. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's about what you say about me 1,000 years after I'm dead.
Is this inspired by what you tweeted recently that you are rebranding? Or you're going through an evolution?
Well, yeah. In the rebranding, I actually went through therapy. I had to go through anger management therapy. I put my whole entire family on therapy. So, because of how I structured my business in the past, my mother had control over my businesses and everything else. And I'm saying this now flippantly because, like, I saw there's some court case, someone who worked with DJ Zintle, took 500,000 from her account and everything else. And I was just thinking about that. And basically what happened is that in the COVID times and everything else, because the businesses were being, the banking things and everything in the business were still being run by my old lady. When COVID came, my uncle who owns 4 garages, he passed away. A whole lot of things happened to the family. And my parents decided to borrow 1.5 million rand from me without telling me.
Hey, son.
That they thought they could pay back. And there's no hope in hell that they can pay back. They've never had that much money ever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Even my mother, when she went on to pension, her pension didn't even amount to that. And yeah, it really tore our family apart. I was angry at them and everything. I was cursing them and everything. And then I was like, there's no way I cannot have a relationship with my parents. There's no way. Over money. It doesn't matter how many millions it is.
Sure.
Because
it's just money.
It's just money.
Yeah.
But because this happened, we need to fix it, and we need to fix it properly. So I booked my entire family into family therapy. Even right now, we're still in family therapy. I mean, we've got our after this interview right now, at 5 p.m., we've got our family therapy session every Monday. So, this whole entire process, the anger management therapy that I had to go through as well, so that I could take a deep breath, I could breathe in with my nose and then exhale when I see someone tweeting at me or saying something that I might respond to or I might react to, and then it's been helping.
Yeah.
I've created it as a habit.
Triggers.
About not getting triggered.
Yeah.
Because when you are triggered, you are triggered by the comments.
Emotional
But
intelligence.
only the haters comment. The people that love you just press like.
They like, and there's a
You
lot
understand
of
what I'm
them.
saying? And the comments
Yeah.
are like the customer service line. Only unhappy customers call the customer service line.
Boom.
You understand what I'm saying? So they're important. They're important.
Yes.
But they're not everything.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So for me to be able to serve my purpose, I needed to get over the measly 1.5 million that I lost to my family.
Sure.
You understand? I needed to say that this is a lesson. It means that there's something wrong within our family and we need to fix it as a family.
Sure.
I need to fix my relationship with my father. I need to fix my relationship with my mother. I need to fix my relationship with my siblings. We need to fix what our family has become so that we can all progress. You know what I mean?
The money just exposed certain problems.
It exposed it.
Yeah.
It exposed the problem. It exposed the problem. And it tested me. This happened in June last year. You understand what I'm saying? In June last year. So it tested me. God tested me. God tested me and said, I want to see if you will curse your parents' name. And what happened? The devil got me. The devil got me and I was down and out. And I was like, damn it. It doesn't matter that, you know, I don't need to work another day in my life or anything else, or that if I don't have my family,
Yeah.
I have nothing. And you know what? I need to swallow my pride. I need to kill my ego, and I need to make sure that we do what it takes to bring my family back together like that.
Swallow my pride. That's Jonah and the whale.
Everything. I had to, everything. So I've killed the ego. I don't care if you insult me, because you're insulting the ego, and that guy is dead. So insult that dead guy. Insult that dead guy. You know, I've even given up on him. I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have the energy for it, because the mission that God is put me on this earth for is in progress right now. And this is a testament as well. It's a testament. And trust me, there's so many black families that are broken. They're fighting over houses.
Yes.
Yes. We've all got those family problems, right?
We all do, yeah.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God wants me to go through this process so that I can help other
Others.
people. You know what I mean? So I'm in the process. It's not like rebranding. It's just that, you know, I've changed my mind about how I want to approach things. I don't want to fight. I don't want to force. I want to persuade.
I love what he's saying, because basically he's had his own self-reflection, introspection they call it, no? And when you become honest to yourself, because a lot of us, we lie to ourselves every day.
Yeah.
As much as we lie to the whole world, we are literally lying to ourselves in the mirror every day. And it just takes you being honest with yourself and just making that difficult decision. And then that changes your life instantly. And when you take that decision, be ready to take accountability, responsibility, and to act in making the difference. I like the fact that, as uncomfortable as it was, he brought his family together, took everybody to therapy. It's not. I don't even think it's an easy thing to do. I can only imagine. But the fact that as a man you're willing to do that and go through that process, I think that is an admirable thing to do. And for you to come here and share it with us, I think it should say something out there to our audiences. We all have got our own lives, and we all have got our own some sort of issues with our families.
Yeah.
And I think with what you've just said, you probably just helped some people out there. I think that's it.
I hope so, because, you know, it's a process, you know. It took a lot, you know. It took a lot. I needed to be alone to first have this epiphany. I needed to think. And then there was a day I was on William Nicol. And I was on William Nicol and Senton Drive, ne? Is it Senton Drive, the one that the corner by where there's a billboard, ne?
Yeah.
And I was
By
on
Hurlingham and
well, just before. So as you're coming from Hyde Park down, ne?
yeah.
I met those. And then usually I'm in the far left lane.
Sure.
Right? And I know that, okay, I'm in the far left lane, I'm the first car, and then I drive fast, and then there's like a little pothole or manhole there, and then I dodge it, and then, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Usually that's what I do. That's my pattern. This day, I just decided,
We all drive the same.
Let me just avoid it, that thing. Let me just go on to this lane, this other lane.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Let me be a normal human being.
And guess what happens in that lane? There's a car that comes past me and then parks where I was supposed to be parked, right? Right next to me. I know it. Kill. Next thing happens. Boom! Yeah, chaiswa. But it's a bucky. So it survived.
Sure.
If it was me, I'd have died.
Sure.
I'm shy properly.
That is probably sure.
This is the Kanye West moment.
No, I've had car accidents before. I've survived fatal car accidents. What they thought was a fatal car accident. My first car accident, I drove here. I left my bar. There used to be my bar here in Rosebank. I drove and I crashed here on Jan Smuts, right? And the cops thought I was probably going to die. They stole my phone. They took everything.
Oh,
right? The motor was totaled. And then they dumped me at Joburg General Hospital, right? And then they called my dad to say, hey, is this whatever? Because he's got my ICE number, right? He spoke to the cops. My dad...
ICE number in case of emergency.
Yeah. So
Sure.
my dad went to all the hospitals. They didn't tell him where they were taking me, right? And he gave up. He thought I was dead. He was waiting for a mortuary to call him.
Yeah.
You understand? I came to completely totaled. How did I survive that situation? God gave me another chance. So this was, I've seen messages from God again. He's told me go into this lane. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And he showed me very quickly that this life thing that you think it can disappear like this. You want to die and be buried while you still have beef with your parents. Is that what you want? Is that how you want to go out? That's what God was asking me in that question. He was asking me a question. Is that how you want to go out?
Sure.
And I had to say, no. No, no, no. You know what? Forget everything else. Forget umsebenzi, whatever I need to do from work perspective, business meetings or anything else. God has put me in a position where I don't need to spend my time working for a living. I can spend my time working on my family. And that's what I decided to do. Because I don't want to bring children into this world while we have generational curses that haven't been broken.
A lot.
My father and my grandfather had beef. I watched it.
Yeah.
I saw it. The first day I met my grandfather, my father didn't even know. He didn't even know what happened and everything else. My grandfather summoned me. He called my aunt, Uan, which is my dad's younger sister, to say, hey, she fetched me from Joburg. She went to Limpopo, everything else, sharp. When we got to my grandfather, clean. He made us peanut butter and everything else that he makes for himself. Wang Tandazela, did his things, whatever. And then he said to me that if you grow up to be half the man your father is, someone I've never seen them together, I've never seen speaking of each other, I didn't even know this man exists.
Yeah.
But he says this to me: if you grow up to be half the man your father is, you'll be a great man. What my grandfather was saying is that never, ever disrespect your father.
Sure.
Never, ever dishonor him. Never, ever allow what has come between me and your father to come between you and your father.
Sure.
He broke that generational curse that day. 2 years later, he died on my birthday. Every time it's my birthday, I know this is the day my grandfather died.
Sure.
That's the ancestor that looks after me. That's the person that is the fulcrum of the family. My grandfather. My grandfather is from the royal Baloyi family. Back in the days, they were chased out, whatever, because of conflicts in the family as well. And he was sent to barren land, Batuyatagata and everything else, and therefore we were annexed from whatever our heritage and our inheritance is. So I know how generational curses work. God has shown me my family history to see how generational curses work. God has also shown me that I could be a victim of generational curses as well. And therefore, that epiphany that I had, that near car accident, that near death experience that I just had, you know what I mean, really just reminded me again that, hey, there's generational curses that need to be broken, and it's your job to do that. Do not fail in your mission because you're busy fighting the devil.
The South African justice system, Senzo Meyiwa case still continues. We spoke about it a couple of episodes ago. It hurts. We spoke about how broken Senzo Meyiwa's mother has been. Just seeing those videos and those images in the news, just seeing a mother cry, especially a black mother. We all come from black mothers. We all come from communities. The father is gone right now and advocated for being arrested in front of TV cameras. And we're just hearing all sorts of different things. I'm not one for gossip, but as somebody who lives in this country, such a high profile case, the justice system, do we still have faith in the justice system that such a high profile case is not getting solved? And all of these different things keep happening. What is going on?
Can I tell you a personal story? Personal story is that I spoke to Senzo Meyiwa the day he died. I was at the Can Do concert. We had just driven up from Durban. Sningile. Grootman Arthur. Siyazi wenza ama concert we can do. We know that you don't have budget, mara you know, we just want to promote ourselves. If you can at least put us on the flyer, so it must post on social media. Other promoters will then start to book us. You know what I mean? Grootman Arthur. What is Wagalan Bafana Bam? Arrive, Kelly Kumalo's on stage. I'm a Pirates fan. That's my captain. He's on his phone.
I'm a Pirates fan too, sure.
His name is Senzo. The artist I'm working with, his name is Senzo. I'm like, Senzo, meet Senzo.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? I have a conversation with him. Yonke into simnandi kahle kamnandi. Yonke into kamnandi. You know what I mean? Yo, if I see you next time, cool. Clean, they leave. We get onto stage, siyaroka, clean, we leave. We go back to Katlehong. Now, there's a house in Spruit View. A friend of ours, his name is Banele.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner from Kelly Kumalo's mother's house at that point in time. So, best blomada. We had a MacBook, a laptop, yonke into da, aski, sekasi, siyaziphilela, akunamuntu ongasazi like us. You understand what I'm saying? That grey X6 or whatever, we always see it parked outside that house all the time. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes we know that usenza ukhona or agekho or maybe, you know, ukhe lo spanisa leya moto. The day he died, right there where I hang out all the time, around the corner, same street. You pass this house, right? And then you are Keva, and then the street has a T-junction where it splits. That's the house. So you can even see Kabo Kedi from where I am.
Sure.
The whole, from that day, who ubani ucegezayo la Spruit View amongst us? Nobody does that. It doesn't happen. We have MacBooks, computers, laptops, yonke into. People know, ukwesta unokublomada, you know, baya recorder sometimes or whatever. Sinokulala, singakhiyanga yonke into, everything. If you wanted to target a place where you can get all the equipment you need, I'm a 40,000 rand MacBook, yonke into, you would have targeted us.
No place.
Yeah. You would have targeted, if that's what your mission is, ukchoncha. So from the get-go, the whole entire story did not make sense to me. It's never made sense to me, and it's really triggered me. And I even had like maybe a mild psychotic episode because I saw billboards on the streets, and I even went onto my Instagram live and I posted videos and everything else, seeing billboards of some TV show and saying, how are we having TV shows and everything else with people who are inside the house where someone had died without finding out the truth first? I understand. Yes, life must go on, but let us find truth closure first, because there's a mother that's out there that's seeing life continuing. Life goes on, but she hasn't found the truth of where her son's life was taken and who took her son's life and why they took her son's life. She hasn't gotten the justice. And Tina, as people were just continuing, I posted, and then I saw on Instagram, Unati posted a video saying, why are the cameras posting Senzo Meyiwa's mother and everything else and bringing her cameras to her face? And I commented on that post. I said, she's a mother.
Yes.
You're a mother.
Yes.
A mother's tears for her son. She is crying genuinely. You should be empathetic. You shouldn't be calling out the media for putting cameras in her face. She is sharing her story so that people can care about this thing.
Yes.
Unati blocked me. So, you can see, whether it be the justice system, the problem is actually our society. The problem is our society. We're talking about this Senzo Meyiwa case right now and everything else. There's a young boy, a young gay boy. His name is Mohali. There's a leaked audio that came out, whatever, talking about things that happened to him that sound very much like abuse. Whether it be financial abuse, physical abuse, attempted murder, being driven off the road and everything else. Showmax says, I send any TV show. Let's talk about this story that brings this person so much pain. They couldn't even share the story. They shared it in confidence, secretly. Someone recorded them. Apodla. I record you, Upodla. Telling me your most intimate stew, and then I leak it. Right? It's not you who says this. Then someone else who victimized you because of the way you've expressed it, Maupodla, who victimized you, then takes that and uses that against you because they feel like it jeopardizes their career. So a career, a lifestyle, a TV show, everything is much more important than human beings, their lives, us as a society. What are we saying? How can one of us die inside this house and all of us aren't committed to ensuring that the parents of this friend of ours, who the parents borrowed them to us, doesn't get justice? You understand what I'm saying?
So my contribution there, Mina, is I don't think they have to explain themselves to anyone. No, not the media, not anyone, not social media. If I was them, I would have also done the same. I wouldn't have said anything up until now, until the court case starts.
The people inside the house?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying the court case is just starting. we'll probably then hear from them now. I just don't think probably their intentions were to keep quiet and hide anything from everybody. And I kind of feel, we're living in the social media world and we're detectives, and especially the fact that there's a TV show on it, we want answers. But I really do think answers should be shared in a legal court of law.
No, I agree with you fully. And that's not what I was referring to. I'm not talking about saying things in the court of law. I'm saying that if something happens to you, samba sonke, sbuda.
And we know your mom.
When your mother cries,
and we know
I'm
your
not
father.
There, you understand what I'm saying?
Forget the media and the courts. Can we not just go to your home?
Where is that? You understand? Ubuntu.
So we've obviously been influenced by American reality TV, which has been quite destructive, especially for the black community. You know, some of the channels on DSTV.
Even Ray J is talking about how destructive it's been and how they don't inside the sex tape thing.
But look, again, we said life is not binary. The world is not black and white. It's also done a whole lot of good, these reality shows, to teach us a lot of things as well. To also highlight the inga that black people have. You know, there's a show about families that are fighting over homes. You know, for example, it's very sad for me. And yes, we have covered the story of Senzo, and we did speak about how painful it was listening to his mom. Advocate Utifo was arrested in court, which was weird because it's a warrant from January. They've known where he's been, so it seemed like it was a stunt. I wanted to read this piece from Muthokozani Vilakazi on Facebook. The Senzo Meyiwa case will never be solved. There's just too many powerful people involved. Right now, the lawyer fighting for answers has been arrested. You have to understand something about this country. Rich people don't go to jail. Evidence disappears. People disappear. That's just how it is. No one will ever solve the Senzo Meyiwa case. The truth is useless. Money is the only thing that talks. People only understand money. If you have money in this country, everybody listens, even the police. But I also just want to emphasize on Nota's point. So I don't agree with him with certain aspects of how he views things. But the parts on going to mama no baba, uhambe uyohlala phansi, cha ngangikhona mama ngangikhona baba, na into engayibona mina. That's it. That speaks to human dignity. That speaks to humanity.
Closure, no?
It speaks to closure. Ukuthi hayi wafika umfana uSibusisi wafika la ekhaya ngempela wasitshela naye. Wathi ayisesobona ke ma from, because part of the issue with what Usbu is saying, and I made a video recently about why we're struggling with co-parenting as Otaki. Otaki had a isintu of how we dealt with children falling pregnant abangashadang. And then there's a Western way of doing it, which is through the courts and a parenting plan. And now we've got a middle, like, logishi type of way of sifuna ukuthatha the laws, sifuna ukuthatha the Western way of when a crime happens. The Western way is let's let the law take its course, which is the Western white way. The black way is hamanyobika phela kubazali ukuthi kwenzakalani. Ningathi no, we're waiting for the lawyer, because that's not who Africans are.
And do cleansing, you know, all those things.
And look, in the defense of the people there, not all of them were raised, or we'll assume not all of them were raised mhlampe ngesintu. Thina mhlampe esikhule kuma-suburbs, we might be like, no, but dog, let's wait for the cops. And you're like, no, we can't wait for the cops. You're like, no, we can't do that because there needs to be
spirituality on social media.
No, I'm not going to speak about the people there. I'm just trying to speak generally.
Okay.
Abanye abantu will remember, oh, let's wait for the police. Let's wait for the police. Case number, what? Omunye would be like, don't say, let me wait in my car till the cops get here. Please don't speak to me. I'm just waiting for the police. You're like, right. Sure, but and again, it's the influence of the West. It's the influence of the, and then some is like, and you're like, no, this thing is illegal. No, but you can't speak to like, no, but lento wrong. No, it's seen to see and you're like, no, but what you guys would do. So we've got so many problems as a band, and it's sad. I am starting to feel a sense, and this is why the Meyiwa family ended up going to AfriForum, because of money. I'm also sad that we're not going to see justice. There were 4 guys that were accused. I'd like to think the country, a chunk of the country doesn't believe they were guilty at all. Spruit View is a very, very decent black neighborhood. I've also, having visited there, never heard of crime randomly.
And also where the house is situated,
it's visible.
It's too difficult to get out silently after gunshots.
I'm very sad. So we speak about the 4 guys. There was I forgot this guy's name now. Mafu, who apparently burnt parliaments. That case is now fizzled into thin air. I don't know what's happened to him. Where again, the South African public are like, you guys are looking for a scapegoat. And it seems like now we're literally watching our courts become
kangaroo
places where we know there's not going to be no justice. And I don't know how long we're going to have to wait. And we spoke earlier about the fact that there's an extension now of the regulations again. In Ngatiman, we're being poked. Because we're told, don't take the law into your own hands. Don't be Operation Tutula. But it's like, but we're not getting justice, Bafetu. So what must happen now? Again, ubaba washona without ever seeing justice. Umamusele, I don't know what to say, man. I wanted to touch on this. I don't know if we're going to have time, but
for me,
the ex-Secretary General of the EFF, Godrich, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, Ukadi, lost his daughter a few days ago, who was shot at the back of her head, 28-year-old. And Julius Malema went there. I know people had issues with him saying they killed the wrong person, and it's just a manner of speaking. Abantu abamnyama will speak like
he was wrong.
Yeah, so I Nota can speak on that. Speaking from a place of pain, but now we're wondering, because I know Gadi as a lawyer is currently fighting the big banks with all the injustices of black people that were getting charged high rates. I'm not saying it's linked. I have to say this on camera. I'm not saying it's linked. But you start worrying, Uguti, because they're saying his daughter was shot almost execution style in the back of her head, 28-year-old. And Ugadi is in the EFF and now you have to ask, because we've seen what's happened with the courts, Uguti, is that family going to get justice? Is there going to be closure?
They've got money.
It's become very sad and heartbreaking what we're seeing now, and it's almost like we're being forced to take the law into our own hands, regardless of what it is, whether it's a COVID, whether it's the township economy, whether it's someone being killed in your family. Police are stealing phones when you've been in an accident. No, get the fuck out of here. No.
Look, I'll put it to you like this. For me, it's concerning that there's been political killings. Even now within the EFF, there's been EFF ward councillors, whatever, that have been killed in KZN and everything else. There's been political. And you've never seen the EFF saying they killed the wrong one when it was any one of those members. You know what I mean? There was the guy who was being accused of being a drug dealer, ex-secretary general. They never said, oh, they picked on the wrong one. Now, this is one of us. And you know what I mean? So for me, that was very performative. And everything that I've seen the EFF do of late has been very performative. And it's just like it's when you've got a following that just reinforces everything you say. No one criticizes you. It's like what we're seeing with Vladimir Putin right now. It's like a complete dictatorship. And for me, I love the fact that Julius had the balls to form his own organization and everything else. But what we are seeing right now from the EFF is that it's not about serving the people. If you're making statements like that, where you are elevating the daughter of an EFF member to some sort of higher status than the many victims of violence within this country.
I just want to say sorry to the Gani family. I send my condolences and my sympathies, regardless of the politics and the noise and the whatever. Yes, I don't even want to imagine. I don't care the background, but my condolences and my sympathies to the family. I hope they get justice, whatever that means. But my heart is with them and everyone that was related to Usisi.
But my heart is with everyone that we lose. We lose 70 black men every single day in this country. to violent crime and murder. So, why we are not addressing the crime that is being committed. We lost Khumutso Diale, who was shot and murdered in cold blood in front of people, in front of a crowd of people who were running away from bullets. He was killed with an AK-47. 6 other women got shot. Nothing has been said. Those weren't the wrong ones. Those were the right ones to go for. And for me, is that it's disgusting when politics takes over when we should be human beings.
When I saw the headlines, I saw Chicco has been arrested. And understandably, provocatively from the media, they probably want us to speak about, hey, maybe something. But I know because his son was involved in the Senzo Meyiwa case, I just wanted to touch on without discussing.
No, he was arrested for pointing guns at City
was
Power,
arrested and then
City Power
he was released on bail.
Currently alleged.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
But
what they
does
say.
that have
Sure.
anything to do with anything?
No, I was saying
No,
since we're
because
on
he
the-
said,
Sorry.
he said, no, because Chicco said was that, you see, I've been arrested, which means I'm not above the law. So all the people that are on social media that have been calling me and all the haters, those were his words. You can see, and he sent an SMS from his prison cell. So clearly, some of us are beneath the law because, when we Mlotshwa, we don't get access to our phones. But he was just saying that he's not above the law, using that as an example.
By the
But
way, yeah.
you don't brandish a gun. If you have been trained on how to use a gun, you don't point a gun at people.
But that's
Yes.
allegedly. You've just told me.
No, he said, it's not alleged.
Oh.
He is the one who admitted. He said this. These are his words. He confessed the crime. He said, I went outside. I thought they were cable thieves. They were City Power officials. There's a City Power van close to where they're working. You understand what I'm saying? He could have asked them, inquired, asked them to identify themselves or anything else. He didn't have to threaten them with a gun because it's not like they were pointing a gun at him and he was doing it in retaliation. A gun is not something that you draw out and point at any human being ever. You don't behave like that. And he's doing this in Blobosrand, my neighborhood where my parents have owned land since 1991. The last cable theft incident was when someone broke into the substation there. Ne? I've got a picture of it. My mother sent it to me. My mother is calling me now. My mother sent it to me because it was in the Blobosrand residents WhatsApp group. We've got our own police cars.
You can take it, call them.
No, she's fine. We've got our we've got our own police van number where we call a police van if we need it. We've cordoned off Blobosrand. There's only one entrance. There's a squatter camp on the backside. Kaya Sands. I think people have seen the picture of the inequality in South Africa where they show Blobosrand and they show the squatter camp next to it. We've cordoned off all those areas. The streets, as you enter Blobosrand, unama camera. You understand? The residents paid for those cameras. So there's no fear of Blobosrand residents that would make them have to pull out a gun if they see someone working outside and threaten them, hey, Nenza and Love with a gun. That behavior at all, what Chicco is admitting to is wrong. You don't behave like that. It's wrong. As a licensed gun owner, your license gets taken away for pointing a gun at people. We know the gun laws, how you should use a gun. We watched the Oscar Pistorius trial on TV. It was a whole entire channel. We watched it over and over again. He disobeyed the gun laws. He should not be allowed to own a gun. He should not be allowed to have a gun. Like a person that disobeys the laws, they take away your gun license, right? This person has disobeyed the laws. He pointed a gun at someone. There's a charge. It's been opened by city officials, the people that we pay with our tax money, the people that work for the state, the same people that keep the lights on. And you're threatening them with guns. And these people are under threat because they get appointed at guns by actual cable thieves. The City Power workers were shot 2 weeks ago at a substation by cable thieves. They were shot. They were killed execution style. The security guards were shot execution style. So these guys are very fearful for their lives because the work that they're doing is very dangerous because these copper cables are in high demand.
Who's buying these copper cables, bro?
They're being exported. I've got lots of respect for Irotman. Mina ulongwe ngiyamazi.
Personally.
Besidlala idiski together at Skaratintwa's soccer club, African Eagles. You understand what I'm saying? A spoiled brat.
Yo.
His father even says that in that video that he made. Spoiled brat. As for that behavior of pulling out a gun, you're pulling out a gun in my neighborhood. We've owned land there since 1991. That's 31 years of being in that neighborhood. We're the first black family to own land in that neighborhood.
Can I say something, Nota?
So, no, I just want to say, that's not how you behave as a legend.
can I say
Everything
something?
that we've just said about this man, you don't pull out, I don't care. We've just spoken about when you got great power, great influence, great responsibility, it shouldn't be you that is the one that is accused of this thing of pulling out a gun.
Can I please say something?
No. Wait. Those city power workers have got families, bro. I don't go to work and have people pull out guns on me and justify it because, oh no, there's criminality in the country, so that's why a gun must be pulled out on me. Think about those people, how terrified they were, thinking that they're going to get killed at work. And they know that their colleagues are being killed. We're hearing stories of city power workers that are being killed, the security guards that are being killed. My mother worked at National Control where they secure all the substations, where all the cameras. I used to go to work with my mother, used to see, oh, here's a breach. I know what happens to those workers intimately. You understand? I know what's happening at Eskom intimately. I was raised by Eskom. Our bond that we live in that house, that was a bond that was granted by Eskom, that mortgage. You understand? The bursary that got my sister her UCT degree is a bursary from Eskom. You understand what I'm saying? I was fed by Eskom. I am here because of Eskom. You understand what I'm saying? Now, someone who is just like my mother's colleague had a gun pointed at them up the road from where she lives, in an area in which the residents have said, let us secure our community. Let us make sure that our security is coming. And one of the community members decides that he's going to behave in such a savage way.
But wasn't...
Can I please say this?
No.
You're giving us
it's unjustifiable.
a backstory of your emotional connection to Eskom.
No.
And you've explained...
I'm not giving you a backstory of my emotional connection to Eskom.
And you're trying to explain...
I'm humanizing the workers that work at Eskom.
Nyakuzwa, Nota. And you're trying to explain that you guys have a WhatsApp group, you've got cameras and those things.
In the neighborhood.
The reason I want to come in is because, number one, you are not Chicco, for example.
Yeah, I'm not.
Number two, you don't know what's happening in his life.
I do. It's in the public. He's in the public eye. I don't know what's happening in his personal life.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Number three, look.
But I know what is happening in his public life.
No, but
and in his public
please hear
life,
me. Please hear me.
I hear you.
Please hear me.
Yeah.
Please hear me. So, we're speaking about the Senzo Meyiwa case. It's a huge case. It's a high-profile case.
And he's implicated.
We're speaking about his son.
And he's implicated.
What I'm doing is you're speaking about yourself and your mom and your whatever. I'm trying as a Penuel to put myself as a timer, whose son and whatever, and I'm trying to think, I don't know at any given time what's happening. I already feel like I'm under pressure somewhere out there. I'm not excusing any illegal behavior. I understand gun laws as well. You don't point guns at people. I understand that. But I'm trying to get into the mind of someone where there are people that are speaking about you in the streets.
So you must break the law.
No, please listen to me.
I hear you.
We had a guy like Unhlanhla Lux here.
Yeah?
Who was involved or who's involved with Operation Tutula.
They didn't break the law.
Please hear me.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing you.
So, at any given time, if Unhlanhla Lux was living in Blopos Rand and there were people outside, Bezo Shai Kabul, and I heard Unhlanhla Lux pulled out a gun, knowing that it's illegal, it's wrong, the law must take its case, he must be arrested. But in my head, I'm thinking, I understand exactly why he was nervous and why he would have potentially wanted to have a gun close to him, because angazi what crazy people are out there and what they're potentially thinking. I'm not defending him.
Yeah.
I'm literally only trying to explain that if we're gonna, because again, we did say life is not binary. It's nuanced.
Yeah, no, that's true.
We have to understand that people are not the same, and we don't know at the time whatever fears or concerns he may have had at the time to make him maybe potentially take that action. I don't know.
For me,
I don't know if he was intentionally thinking, let me go threaten guys there.
He did, because he did.
I'm just saying.
He did it.
I'm just saying that's what I wanted to say.
What was the intention of pulling out the gun? Why angababuzi? And I'm saying that I'm telling you about the neighborhood where I live in to eliminate the notion that it's a crime-ridden area where people live with a threat of violence on their lives. You know what I mean? The whole entire time. That neighborhood is not like that. We don't live with the threat of violence. I'm explaining this to you to say that I would know.
People have been hurt in the best neighborhoods.
All I'm saying is that you've got a case where someone was murdered, where your son is involved, where they even spoke about your gun being used and how trigger happy you might be and everything else. All of these things are public knowledge. If these things are public knowledge, you need to be smarter. You can't be the one that's pulling out the gun on the thing. And you even said someone to go and fetch the gun. You found someone. Why aren't they the one with the gun? Why don't you have security? If your life is under threat, hire security. Don't you be the one with the gun. Protect yourself because you know that you've got a public image. Spuda, you won't carry a gun. If you will probably get security. But the security is not to protect you in per se. It's to protect other people from you in case you get angry at someone as well and you want to now intervene in the situation. They are the go-between. That's how you protect yourself. And all I'm saying is that as Itaima, as Ikhrotman, he behaved irresponsibly. And we need to be able to call out irresponsible behavior, especially when it comes from people who have been in the public eye since the 80s, who know these things. You've been in the public eye since the 80s. You've been famous for 40 years. You're not new to these things. You can't be caught with a gun. I've never heard that Spuda was carrying a gun, Nyamtanda. And if Spuda was carrying a gun and pointing it at people, as much as I love him, there would be no way to justify it. Because I know that this guy's a peaceful person and everything else. What could have possessed him to do something like that? No, there must be something wrong. And we must address that. The fact of the matter is that you pulled out a gun on people. That is a crime. He committed a criminal act. When are you trying to find reasons to justify the criminal act? You're not calling out the criminality. Let's call out the criminality. That's why he was arrested. I was arrested for committing a crime. He's on bail for committing a crime. It is a crime what he did. And he committed that crime on people who work for the state, who work for the government, who work for the people, who work for us. He pointed a gun at us.
He didn't point a gun at us.
He pointed a gun at us.
No, he didn't.
He pointed a gun at us. That's how I feel. If you disagree with
you've got
me,
an
you
emotional
can have
connection to ESCOM. You explained.
No,
I understand.
It's not about an emotional connection to ESCOM. It's about an emotional connection to human beings. I don't think anyone, whether they work at ABSA, should have a gun pointed at them. Even if the bank robber needs to pay for his kid's kidney surgery.
Let's maybe end it on a soft note. So, okay, this one I won't make it a topic, but just a quick one. I didn't know how petty Drake was. Did you see that?
I think I saw that. I think I know where you're going
knew.
with this.
Okay, let's keep this one moving. Yeah. Let's go to the
No, please speak about what happened to Drake.
I would Drake.
No, please, just quickly,
Drake,
just
no.
quickly.
Uncle Waffles.
People are gonna wanna hear it.
Oh no, I'm not talking about.
It's not Uncle Waffles.
No.
I mean, I'm talking about a guy who was trolling Drake.
Sure.
Yeah.
on the internet.
Sure.
And said, your son, what?
Yeah, I spoke nonsense about Drake's son after Drake had posted a picture of him and his son.
Sure.
And then what Drake did, that's why I'm saying he's petty. He followed the guy. I think he went through his social media, found the wife of the guy,
And
found
followed
the
it.
guys, and then
Follow the wife.
And then he DM'd the wife.
Jeez.
And then he comes back to send a message on the guy's thing and he says,
Yeah, I know that's hectic. He said,
That's an abuse of power.
your wife looks what miserable. I wanna. Yeah.
That's an abuse of power.
But anyways, yeah, no, that's very petty. But I don't think there was malice.
No,
But
it
yes,
is
I think
malice.
it was petty.
Penuel,
Because the guy was saying something about
as Drake, you can't be
your
doing
son,
that.
Your son has ghostwriters or whatever. He was
but it's
saying.
already malicious because every time the guy messes up, the lady's gonna be,
Hayi phela ukhona udrees.
And
Namzobiza udrees.
my thing is that he could have ignored that.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
could have ignored that, and you're using your power, that you're weaponizing your fan base against someone who's got no power over you, who doesn't stop you from doing anything. This insult that you're having doesn't add to your balance, your balance sheet,
that's
your
petty.
bank.
That's what I'm
It's
like-
petty.
Can I say something?
Hold on, wait. I just
Sure.
want to say, Drake is not the only one who is famous who women throw themselves at.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? Usmuda has the same thing. There are
Sure.
people that could throw themselves. There are people who say things he could follow their wives, their
Sure.
girlfriends, and everything else. I can do the same thing. Penuel, you can do the same thing. We don't do that because it's unbecoming. And as Drake, I've just got a $400 million deal, 360 from Universal. If you didn't hear, they just announced it on the earnings call at UMG.
Hey, that's what's up.
Let's talk about that.
It's almost a billionaire now, no?
Well, he just got given a 400 million US dollars, which is 6 billion rand, for his entire catalog in the past. They already owned the back catalog. It was just I think there was 2 tapes that he released under a license with Republic, but now they've taken those over, and any film projects as well. So they gave him this 400 bar last August, and this was announced in Lucian Grange's earnings call. As you know, Universal is now listed. So when Kanye West buys Universal, he's also gonna buy Drake's masters.
Jeez.
That's dope.
No, bengifuna ukusho ukuthi look, what Drake did was wrong. So I'm not going to say it's right.
Very, very wrong.
But it's petty. And look, in the spirit, context is important. in the spirit of rappers, in the spirit of clapbacks, in the spirit of, we understand, and I think Drake fans understand. Drake is not saying I'm gonna go find your wife and whatever. You know, he was literally, that's why he did it publicly.
No, we don't understand. Because
and,
there's an artist that went
I want to say
to collaborate with Drake, and then he slept with the artist who, while her husband was there, while she was engaged. So Drake does these things. We know Kanye West has complained about Drake alluding to maybe being with Kim. We know Drake does these things. This is Drake behavior. This is
why I'm saying
Drake
it is his behavior. And in the context
but it's
of
wrong.
Drake, I started off by
Drake.
saying it's wrong, Mos.
It's like Mandela looking at all the going for Albertina Sisulu, and then Mandela then goes for Thabo Mbeki's wife, and then Mandela goes for, you understand what I'm saying? Because it's wrong, dog. It's wrong, dog. It's wrong, dog. It's wrong, dog. God did not put you there to do that.
It's not cool at all.
Nah, B.
The things that, when it comes to his movements in business and music and his talent and just how he's done his stuff.
Wait, what's wrong?
We all take our heads off to Drake.
Sure.
What he was making an example of, because I also did read that story about that amazing talented singer, I forgot her name, who was flown into Canada by herself and her boyfriend.
Sure.
And then later,
Fiancé.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And then I think a few weeks later, the boyfriend was no longer there. She was on her own with Drake, and apparently he slept with her.
Sure.
Apparently, I don't know.
Allegedly,
how true that is.
Sure.
The fact that such stories you would hear of, such stories of. Let me not even talk about Drake. Let me just say
In that sense, I fully agree. I fully agree.
Industry now. I can't pay to.
Wait, what are you saying? I need to speak about this because this is actually important.
What he was making an example of Kim.
Okay. I want to say something.
Even if I see Bram.
No, I disagree.
Fine.
So I want to say this. I'm very, very sensitive about the bro code. My brother and I are very sensitive about the bro code. Your woman, Nota's woman, completely off limits. If she ever sends me a DM, I send it straight to you. I don't know what's going on, but Sisi just send me a DM. If bro code is very, I think I saw your wife there. I'm not saying anything. I'm not fuck snitching. I saw your wife holding hands. I don't know if that was a cousin or a brother. I'm just letting you know. As the out here.
No, that's how we do it.
I'm that strict on the bro code.
Same here.
But with the bro code, Mina, I have to be very serious about who it is. If you're not my mate, for me the bro code doesn't apply. I don't need to, just because I've seen you in circles somewhere, explain that I saw your woman. We don't know each other like that. We're not mates like that. If your woman wants me, I don't have to explain that to her. I have to ask her, are you not with Usbu? If she's like, no, we've broken up, sure, you're fair game to me. I don't owe you anything because I know I can face you tomorrow if you're like, hey, dog, that's my woman. I'll be like, no, I knew as your woman, but ask her. I asked her, but I don't owe you anything because you're not my mate. That's very important. But I agree with the Drake thing that his moves, because he's got a reputation for this now. It's very against bro code, especially at that level.
Yeah.
If you're going to do stuff like that, it has to be transparent, if anything. You must reach out to Mchita, or you must, however you do it, it must be classy. You could say, look, I'm not sure what's happening, but this is what's happening.
Dog, you got a $400 million deal, dog.
It shouldn't be about money.
No, I'm just saying.
I wanted to say the pettiness thing.
That's petty.
I just wanted to emphasize that it was petty. But that's why I asked what's wrong. This stuff is fully wrong. That petty thing, for me, it's arguable whether it's wrong or not. Which, like I said, guys clap back.
But who is that guy?
You know.
Who is that guy? Why are you clapping back on?
I'm not picking a side.
No, that's fine.
So remember, guys,
Drake is not that 21-year-old, 23, 25-year-old Drake anymore.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
Old man with the same age as me.
He is an old man.
Sure. It's my dad.
Smadala and the guys we are. What I'm trying to say is,
He's in 85, man.
You're not only an inspiration to millions of people, over 1 billion people across the planet, but the biggest downfall of the most greatest men is the small head.
Sure.
And if you are able to be disciplined enough to control that small head, and that discipline to stick to that bro code and not mess with people's women, not mess with people's wives, you are destined to even keep your riches longer, to keep your relationships lasting even longer. Because if the most simplest thing, every man is the weakness of your small head.
And I said to you, saying that, not to say that like
Sure.
the reason why you started with he's not 23, 24. It's because best no chuna lama flops as younger,
Sure.
younger, not knowing.
Sure.
But now knowing the effects, now knowing, you know, Mina, I've been guilty of it myself,
Sure.
and I know that. And you know, being guilty of it yourself, Fana, you can't even look at yourself in the mirror saying, "Yo, I can't believe." I understand that. Okay, fine. Usisiena, upaizile, because
Sure.
she's the one who's in the relationship and everything else. But Mina, as umchita, when I look at myself in the mirror, do I see myself as a person who would do that to another man,
Sure.
knowing that if it was done to me, how I would feel?
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't want that on me. You understand what I'm saying? And for me, it's like, it's like when you do it in your younger days, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, when is the karma gonna hit me?
Drake has got so much to lose, bro. To be playing such a messy
You,
game.
you remember I said to you, Sport,
Too
one
much.
one of our first.
I mean, he's got a beautiful. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful little big boy.
Yeah, with
But-
blue eyes.
But how you make that baby?
You understand?
With a
porn star.
prostitute without
Sure.
a condom. Such little mistakes.
Sure.
When you're worth that
much.
and you mean so much
It
to so
shows
many
that there's
people.
something wrong.
Those are careless mistakes, bro.
I said to you in one of our first episodes together that networking starts when you're a kid, and people don't realize this. And the example I made was, sisevasithi ndawonye and uhambo shayela omunye umjiti cherry.
Yes.
I said that,
remember
and I was
that,
like, it sticks in people's heads. And the day I'm supposed to do a deal with you, I'm like, I'm not going to do a deal with this guy.
Ethics.
And it's like, why? It's because I know that his morals are fucked.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I watched him do something to a gent back then, see Ntwana Sabaiza. And just for that reason, I think he's a snake. So I can't. So I fully understand the gravity of this thing. And this is not about Drake. So we speak
Yeah.
about him, but it's for guys to listen out there. Machita, we have to respect this thing. When we're speaking wives, girlfriends of someone you have access to, we are mbuzu sis. Sis awushadanga nalo mchita, awujoli nalo mchita. Or sis if she tells, because like I said, angisipre yakho, I don't need to report anything to you. The date comes out and usungikhombisa ngespam. And you're like, say that's my wife, dog. I'll be like, "Mfethu, ngiyaxolisa kakhulu. I'm not mates with you, I don't know you. Ngangenge vele kusukela. Lo sis ngambuza. She told me you guys are not together. In a situation where we're mates, for me, this is how deep it goes. You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be your girlfriend, it doesn't have to be your wife. Makukhona ichero okugcwele ngayo, and you let me know she's completely off bounds.
Off
If she
limits, yeah.
likes me, I must be like, Ntwana, this chick said. Or if usupampile, I have to ask, Ntwana, would you mind? Are you sure? Are you 100%? Konami lecheri grand, but when wakhuluma kuqala. If you're like, hey, Ntwana, I'm not completely, I'll miss out. She might be my soulmate, but I'll never have her. Because Impinchi Ami said, until maybe our friendship, because life is long, if our friendship ends for whatever reason, and I meet this chick, I'm like, but you were with my mate. It's like, yeah, that was, if I have access to you, I'll be like, Ntwana, this chick and I have had coffee. I don't know. I don't know, like that. Are you sure? Grand, Ntwana yam. It'll always be open cards. I take the bro code so deeply seriously. It's not about money and worth. It's about your morals and your values. And it's the day someone is about to take us out. And I'm like, Kishanlo, I've got no fucking time for this. They're like, he's your mate. I'm like, he's got no morals.
Lastly, Ray J. Oh wow, I can't believe we've gone on for 2 hours. This has been beautiful.
Ah?
This
I'll think
last-
sekhulunywa ngo-Ray J.
We're ending it on the most lightest note. Yeah,
Ray J,
the
Kim
tension-
Kardashian.
The tension that we were coming from just before we spoke about Drake. That's why I had to take it down a bit. But you know why am I talking about Ray J when Penuel? It's because we are business people. We're discussing branding. We're discussing building empires. We're
Yeah.
discussing legal stuff. We're discussing
Branding,
as much
Brandy.
As Ray J can be an entertainer.
Yeah.
What
Brandy's
you
brother.
About also just bro code. Bro code also cannot necessarily just be umjol between abantu ukuthi mhlambe boyfriend and girlfriend. Brandy beka umngani ka Kim Kardashian.
Sure.
The guy is stylist.
Kim Kardashian but he maxed out $150,000 in a card lika Ray J.
Lika Brandy.
Brandy was a star at the time.
Sure.
And then Brandy's
Brandy was Umowisha.
Yeah, you
Umowisha was
remember those days. Remember those days.
Brandy is still a star to this
Till
day.
today, right?
Yeah, she's a legend.
Who
actually.
voice yakhe? On a whisper, dog, if you're a technical producer, like sound producer, there's no one who's got the vocal control of Brandy. It's ungodly. Like, God should not give talent to someone like that. It must come from, seriously. God, you can't do that because it's unfair.
Sure.
You can't. Umuntu cannot whisper in a note like that. You can't give it
amazing.
because like who is ever supposed to emulate that?
Sure.
So I've never followed these stories.
Sure.
I never knew. I just read. I actually even read it this morning.
Sure.
Uti Brandy was a friend of Kim Kardashian, and Brandy's younger brother. Because I've always been a fan of Brandy. I come from that generation.
Sure. Oh, Brandy, no Monica.
And they also did that Phil Collins cover.
You remember that, right? But we've always known Ray J as that cute little brother, like a Brandy.
Sure.
He'd feature in music videos. So you'd understand Ibra,
Sure.
Brandy, Nasfuna. But how do you max out your friend's credit card?
Sure.
Now that the you go record a sex tape with the younger brother.
Sure.
I mean, I just find out all along it was something that was agreed upon by Ray J, by Kim Kardashian's mother, and by Kim Kardashian, and they were all in on it. I mean, in my
They
mind,
agreed on the sex tape.
Everything.
I didn't know.
Because Paris
Yeah,
Hilton
I
had
saw
her
all
sex tape
along-
first.
saw a
all along
headline.
I've always known.
I've always thought Kim Kardashian was the victim.
Sure.
No.
I thought because they made it look like
Ray J leaked.
it.
That's
Yeah,
the headline I
that
saw.
was the story.
She's always been the victim.
No. There was a break-in at Ray J's place and then it was stolen. That was the story.
Sure.
Now the thing is that I've always known that this was a whole entire story
Fabricated.
because Kim Kardashian. What happened was that Paris Hilton did The Simple Life with Nicole Richie, Lionel Richie's adopted daughter.
sure.
Ne? So they did that, and then Nicole Richie didn't want to do season 2. So then Paris then got Kim to do season 2. The fans said, "Who is this Kim girl? We don't like her. Bring back Nicole." Nicole came back. You understand? So they now needed to zama any plan for Kim. But because Paris Hilton had already had her sex tape scandal and that leak and thing, magic, the idea was like, let's use this sex tape angle. And we'll do it with Ray J. So I've always known that this is the case, this is the story, because I've followed American culture to the T like that. So, for me, it's like, okay, now this is coming out, like him coming out like this is like, I think that, we've seen that the Kardashians have used black people for so long. And then, you know what? Ray J's conscience has said, you know what? It was me that helped this whole entire family exploit blackness like this.
So now
Isn't it wrong? Isn't it wrong for him to do that?
That's exactly what I want to know. Right
that a
now.
change of
As
heart?
business person does he have any legal grounds
Yeah.
to sue?
Yes,
Because they've built a multi-billion-dollar.
he does.
Why is he suing if he agreed?
No.
I'm trying to figure out because I don't know the story.
Yeah,
I have
neither-
to.
neither
So
do
I
I.
just saw a headline saying Ray J comes out that it was not his fault or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking if we agree what they did, again we can say it
he
was wrong,
said-
it was immoral.
he said
but
that-
we're saying
He said that
if
this
we
new tape.
agreed and now Suzo figure later, Suzo no these
No,
that
the
means
issue is the new tape.
you're breaching our agreement.
No. The issue is the new tape.
Sure.
I think there was this new tape story, the fact that Kanye went to go fetch this tape, whatever, WAC 100 had a tape, he spoke about it, her lawyers were involved and everything else. You know what I mean? This new tape is what's causing all of this
So there's
ruckus.
another tape.
That was the whole entire story. That was the first episode of the Kardashians
The
when
new
they came back
Kardashians.
onto Hulu. The first episode was about this new tape
Her son.
and how Roblox Saint saw
her son
there's
saw
an
something about a
advert
new
about
tape.
a new sex tape on this virtual reality game that they play.
Roblox, my daughter
Roblox.
loves it.
Yini leyo nto?
Yeah.
Yini leyo nto?
Namanyas,
kanti niyayazi?
It's
Roblox.
a game, yeah.
How?
Roblox is a game.
Yini leyo nto?
Basically, it's a robot for us parents.
So-
to keep buying those tokens as a Roblox for our children.
Yini leyo nto?
Game.
Yini?
It's a game.
Is it like a Tetris?
Yeah, it's a virtual game.
Okay,
Just
so
some blocks.
Like no, you can play with an avatar. You can become whoever.
Uhamba ucosha like Super Mario.
Yeah.
So the whole entire
But,
Kardashian.
a sophisticated Super Mario.
Okay.
It's a
So
Mario
the
Parada.
so for me the whole entire
Mario Brothers.
So the whole entire Kardashian family was made famous by this first sex tape, right? And then we've learned how constructive a sex tape can be from them, right? And now we're seeing people who are doing OnlyFans and all these things, right? And now we're seeing after the years of sex tape, now I've got kids, now my kids are seeing this sex tape and how it's causing me emotionally and everything else. The bad influence, the negative influence that has been caused by the whole entire Kardashian phenomenon right now, for me, I think if I was responsible for it and if I was Ray J, I'd want to bring it down. The same way,
Do you think he was paid?
I don't think he's been paid enough. I don't think even right now he's been paid for what is happening right now. Because right now, it was like, oh, Kanye just flew, spoke to WAC 100, said, Ngaileo tape onayo mfana ngigaya uKim sicede le
What's your
ndaba.
question? Was he paid for the initial tape, or you're asking if he's been paid now to speak out
No. Then.
for the first one?
Yeah, I think he was paid then.
Was it a fair deal for him? Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
I think
I want
it
to
was.
say this because this is important for me, and
they-
it's important
they
because
released it,
you
they
guys are in
earned.
entertainment.
Yeah.
You never know how things will work out
Hey, bro.
in life, and this is where people get sour, and I get angry as someone who studies the game from the outside. We agree, Nota and I agree. Except Penuel was Shali in Nombolo, I'm gonna pay you 10 grand for the song. I'm like, except I've got no money. 10 grand is a lot, and he's like, look, I'm gonna keep the song. I don't know anything about royalties, and I don't know. It's fine. I'm ignorant. I don't know. He might know. It's fine. He has that knowledge. That's business. He's giving me 10K I don't have.
Yeah.
And now this song, he doesn't know that the song is going to be used in the biggest movies on the planet, and this song is going to change culture, and
I've
he
heard
becomes a
that story.
billionaire. And now I'm like, no, this guy's wrong. He owes me.
I am wrong.
And
I am
Hey,
wrong.
my notes, wait.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying this is unfair.
Yes.
And then I want to ask, this is why I'm asking this question of, was the amount fair at the time?
Let
Because
me-
now there might be an issue of unomona because they became so big and he wasn't anticipating that.
Let me give you an
Because
example.
now, how is it my fault that this thing blew up more than
it is your fault.
either of us would have
No, and
known?
I'm talking about then.
Yeah,
Sure,
no.
I hear you. I just
Yeah.
wanted to speak
But
on this.
let me tell you
part.
why it is
I
your
don't
fault.
I don't like that people want to do that. They want the upside. They were never going to carry the downside. If the song never made anything,
fine.
this guy would have lost 10 grand.
Yeah.
I would have never been liable to give him the money back, even if
That's
I become
fine.
a big deal.
But would you have
With
done
the
it without me?
Let's say he gives me the 10K. Here's an example. He gives me the 10K. I go and I buy Apple when it's starting out. And my 10K turns to 2 billion.
That's something
and
different.
it's like, hey,
That's
you just
something
never
different.
know. Because at the time we had an agreement.
Yeah.
Savumela, and that this is fair. And to me,
Okay.
maybe this is where I'm a capitalist.
Yeah.
I'm like, we agreed there, dog.
No, let me
Honestly, from here, I don't owe you anything.
Let me give you this example.
Sorry.
Let me give you this example. I've had the same situation. So we record a song, right? It's called Ngiyazifela Ngawe. At Cypho Studio. Cypho says, yo, I've got this young female vocalist that I'm working with. I'd like you guys to try her out on the song. So comes through, Tapsi, gets brought in. I sit down with her. We end up writing the chorus. You know what I mean? She's part of it. She assists. Now, Mina, I know when I'm recording this song is going to be a big song. It sold 2 million copies. It's the best-selling song in South African music history.
Come on, let them know.
Yeah, same example is that after the whole entire thing that we've done when she's on her own, I'm still the same person because it's my record company and everything else who then says, okay, I'm going to invest 250,000 rands in your career so that you can get beyond this point. No questions asked. It's not an advance. I'm investing it in your music videos and everything else. That's what I did. You understand? For Tapsi. Why? So that thing that we did that had so much value for me, my family, everyone that worked on it and everything else also derives value for her. And me, even though I'm benefiting from other things, I take from those other things and make sure that she is set. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with, what's his name? Kid X. Kid X left Cash Time, whatever. We did the song Boom Shakalaka together. He's a contributor on Boom Shakalaka. But we did that song, and that song made us have gigs and everything else. From that point onwards, X didn't need to ask me for anything. Anything he needed, I would do for him. If he needed me to produce his album, I would produce it for him. If he needed me, I'm there for you every single step of the way, because that small thing that you did helped me get to a certain step that has helped me progress for the rest of my life. So I will never, ever leave you behind. Why? Because if I leave you behind, you'll be sitting there and I don't know what is happening in your mind. Maybe resentment is growing. Maybe you're being told funny things. You understand? Maybe you're being told lies. And those lies then poison your perception of me. And then you could end up being my enemy. Your enemy is never someone you don't know. You know what I mean? It's someone that you are close to. And that's the things that people don't understand, that in this world, in this life, we've seen it, many examples of people who've had fallouts because of those things. You bring those people along. The Kardashians cannot become billionaires without making sure that Brandy is involved, Ray J is involved.
I disagree.
No, I disagree.
That's why I'm saying it's a different example.
Why?
That's why I'm saying it's a different example, and maybe I'm a
Okay,
capitalist.
so hold on.
Spoon,
So the sex tape.
Nota.
Yeah.
So Nota's explaining the way he operates,
Yeah.
which is beautiful, and I appreciate it. It would be nice if more people were like this. My point is, if we agree on something, I don't have anything. So he's saying because he's scared, you might have resentment, you might sabotage me. I'm saying we just agree.
I know, but I'm protecting myself.
George Sombono's at Chicken Licken went to pay for that recipe when he brought it here to Kandi Chicken Licken. Chicken Licken becomes a multi-billion. Then that guy's like, no, I want my... That's not what we agreed on. In the same way that he's saying,
I hear you.
I did this with this person, I did this. If after doing all of that, the person is still like, no, I want your it's like, that's not what we agreed on.
No, I understand that.
You're
but
asking for too much. No. And that's not business.
Penuel, you are very right.
That's my issue.
Unfortunately, that's not how business works.
No, I hear you. And I agree with you. That's not how business works.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's how people work. And therefore, even if I did everything right, if that person with resentment, while I'm at the top,
sure,
right,
they wait for you to
negative,
get to the top.
says something negative, and there are people who don't want me to be at the top. Sure. Those people will amplify that message, and that will defeat me in the end.
Fact.
So all I'm doing, I'm not doing it just out of the goodness of my heart. I'm taking this person along so that I'm making sure
it's an insurance policy.
It's an insurance policy. Hey, you need it. Hey, I'm gonna make sure.
You can't live
I'm
like
making
that,
sure.
man. You can't live like that.
But now look, Ntabayase Tupai says what he says, and then look at the brand image that was so clean of Big Zulu. Now it's ish. Now there's other negative things that are coming. There's this negative energy. You understand what I'm saying? Now people are looking at him differently, and those people weren't looking at him differently.
No,
before.
those people are not privy to the agreements that were signed.
And that's my thing. And that's the thing.
That's the issue.
And exactly, that's the thing. So someone can even say lies about you, and people are not privy to the agreement, and they won't know that this person is lying. They will just take whatever story, and if it seems like it's bringing you down or it's a negative story about you, there's that negativity bias. They will ride on the negativity.
But going back to the Kardashians,
Musa Kaula did the same thing to Sbuda.
Sure.
I was very angry. I tweeted, DJ Sbu does not deserve this.
Sure.
People commented on my post and said, to hell with Sbu, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself,
you're protecting him. What? Hey,
and it's not that. I'm not protecting him. I'm defending him. I've seen his generosity. I've seen what he's done for the community.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that you don't do that to someone who's done this for the community. Do that to the people who are raping and doing that. Don't do that. You understand what I'm saying?
And the negativity. Going against what he said, though.
I'm going against what I said.
This is why I said, how much more must you do? Because he's giving an example of you,
yes,
who moves or who's moved like he is moved, and even after all of that, people are still like, you're unfair.
That's the thing.
Kim Kardashian, give me $1 billion. You're like,
but that's why you have to. But that's why you have to.
You do it from the goodness of your heart.
But you did.
Yes. But it must be from the goodness.
Okay. Why did you give Uzahara 50%? Like, who does that? That's not business.
No, I don't want us to discuss
that. But I'm just saying.
What I don't want us to do is to end up revealing certain confidential information that might end up either harming or causing, you know what I mean? So I'd rather be the bad guy. Let me put it that way. Let me rather be the bad guy, and that's fine in that case if you're making that example. But I don't want us to get into that.
Cool.
Let's chat some other day about that conversation. But I like the fact that
Aiki, you wanted to end on a light note. Aiki, light note.
No. But the thing is this. I'm like, this guy.
Aiki, light note.
Why are they allowing people to do that to him? But it's fine.
Yeah, I can take it. That's fine.
I respect that, and I understand. I respect that.
Okay, but you know what?
I just want to say this. Sorry.
Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for teaching us that grace. No, thank you for teaching us that grace. You know what? They're not as many good people. Because in the same situation, I don't think I'd have that grace. I've also had similar situations in the past, and I didn't react. I fought hard.
Yes.
And I've watched you not fight. I've watched you not fight. I've watched you not fight. And I mean, it hasn't killed you not to fight.
I want to say this, Buddha. Sorry. I respect your stance, and I agree with it fully. I've had business failures. I've spoken about it, and part of the failures were where investors had given me money and I'd loaned it out to certain small businesses and other people. Some of them are actually quite prominent, you know. Those people never paid me back. And instead of me going back to the investors and saying, Palus Buddha didn't, I was like, look, I'll take it. It was my business, it was my what. I'll be the bad guy, you know, Al Pacino, because I think we have an understanding of what the bigger picture means. We understand what relationships and bridges and those things mean. And we hope as time goes on, some of these people that we do protect from other people will appreciate us and will create higher value, just human, not even money. They'll respect us more and be like, you know what, at a time where this guy could have said, I just want to say it, you know, so I appreciate that stance and I understand. And also to emphasize that if Virtual Mkhukhu is an educational platform, we're not a gossip platform. We'll speak about current affairs and current celeb gossip, of course, from an educational perspective. And we don't want to speak about people. We'd love for people to come here and tell their stories and educate us as well so that we can educate our virtual squatters.
Oh man, I love today's episode.
No, thank you guys.
To our 30.
I know, thank you. Thank you for the sharing the opinions. Thank you for everything you've taught me today. Thank you for everything that you've taught me today, Penuel.
Nota.
Thank you. Like,
we need a part 2 here, man. I can't fight with this guy.
No, I debate. I don't do anything physical. Mina, I play with this one. This one.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll keep with the mental arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe let's have another one. A part 2. Maybe let's have a part 2 around Youth Month. It would be nice for us to do something as Virtual Mkhukhu around Youth Month.
I'm going to be in the United States on tour.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, no.
Doing some work?
On tour.
On tour, music tour?
A music tour.
Nice.
Solid.
Piano to the world.
Nice.
Solid.
Nice.
So, I'll come back after.
I'm coming with you, my man. When are you leaving?
1st of June.
Now.
Yeah. But you can join us.
You must
I
take
wanted
us.
to go to Coachella. I was commeling this one and then.
Hey, you were commeling me.
Last minute, I didn't go.
No, Kanye didn't make it, so that's why I was gonna go. But as soon as Kanye cancelled, I was like,
So I'd love to come with you guys to just
everywhere.
Just
everywhere.
to leave the country, man. I've
Sure.
been there for too long, bro.
Traveling is important.
Everywhere.
We spoke about traveling and exposure.
Yo, guys,
In 2 years,
I've been
only
holding on to my league.
I've
I've been holding on to my league.
Alright, guys, NFTs are out there. They're available. We've sold about 5 units so far. Thank you so much. If only we didn't try, we wouldn't have known
Yo, I need to.
that in a space
my
of
Nota, we're
3
gonna finish
months,
this now.
we can. It's okay. Let him rush to the restroom. In a space of 3 months, we can actually sell 15 NFTs. Who would have ever thought that artistically through God's given talent with our King Debs, a brother that I've collaborated with, to put together some amazing art, and put it out virtually and promote it and give it some sort of utility and explain to people how much it's going, not a physical number that it's going to be worth in the future, but people in the hope that in the future they'll have return on their investments. They decided to invest in my first collection of 10 NFTs in February. And right now, so far, they've bought about 5 of them.
Sure.
I want to say thank you because it means those people is people who believe in what we're doing. They believe in our vision. Just like some people who always send us positive messages right here on Virtual Mkhukhu.
Yeah.
There are some South Africans like that, or there are Africans like that, or
There's people around the world. I've seen comments from around the world.
So we're already getting comments from all over the world?
We've got virtual squatters internationally.
Wow, bro. And for me, I just want to say, guys, thank you. It just shows what you guys believe in what we're doing. And there's just some kind people out there, man.
Yeah.
There's one guy who once said to me that I met somewhere. I was not even aware, I didn't know him. And he's like, by the way, I'm one of the people who bought your NFTs.
Boom.
And he's a very successful guy, young guy,
Sure.
in his 30s. And the guy says, I bought it not necessarily because I wanted to buy it. I just bought it because I just love what you stand for, what you're doing, and just to encourage you. To say keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and especially the latest conversation around NFTs and crypto, keep doing it. That's why people like me will throw in that $300 and say keep going, my brother.
Sure.
So in those words, we wanted to thank you guys. We'll see you on the next video. Last words?
Just want to give a big shout out to Nota. Like I said, we almost fought the first time. It's because we're both passionate. I love him very much. He said some very powerful things, part of them being the comment section is like the complaints department. Most of our squatters out there love what we stand for. We see it in the viewership. We see it in the likes. We see it in the shares. We see it on Twitter. We see it on Instagram. And I'm blessed and I'm humbled, man, by how many people are giving us love out there. I'm blessed to be meeting great people. I mean, in Newcastle, KwaZulu, I'm sitting with some of the biggest celebs in the country. I'm looking forward to sitting with bigger celebs internationally. as we grow our virtual squatter camp, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. And yeah, man, I think I'll stop there. Thank you.
Mr. Tlamuno, last words to the people.
Yeah, man, last words to the people. Support
Look at
MoFire.
Over here, ne?
Support black businesses, support township businesses, and look after abogok betu emalokishini. Make sure that they're living comfortably, make sure that they're great, and ningabalegi into the suburbs and think that, you know, you can leave your people behind. At the end of the day, we need to lift each other up, and our townships have given so much to the country. It's time that the country gives back to the township, and it's up to us, the young and upwardly mobile, to demand that.
Boom.
We love you guys. See you on the next episode. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 o'clock midday. Thank you, sir.
This is the Hustler's Corner.